We're asking for one. We approve it, and we want you to work on one. We really, they should have known. I mean, that what they're asking for here with the drop off and pickups and the location of the building and whatnot, that there needed to be a viable traffic plan. Uh, about they should have known. They should have had a traffic plan presented to us, and I would not approve this until we see one that we can spitball with them at and see what's good, see what's bad. So I would urge the committee not to approve this and ask them to come back. Uh, is there any scheduled thing at SLA yet?
Lindsay, is something scheduled at SLA?
We haven't made any submissions to the SLA, but if I could just comment on the concerns with regard to traffic. The reason the public assembly capacity is so large is because this is more than just the cafe space that we're including. We're also including offices, meeting rooms, and a storage area as part of the premises. So we're really not, basically everyone who is going to mostly be within the space we're licensing are the workers in the office building. This isn't a draw that's just 530 people coming to this cafe. And in furtherance of that, those who are arriving to the building will be arriving to go to their day jobs. So there's not going to be very much vehicular traffic here. These are people who are going to be coming from the World Trade Center station and walking over from the subway. So we're not anticipating, vehicular traffic coming here. This isn't a destination spot where
Well, when you
people
have
are.
special when you have special events, it will be, and there will be town cars and Ubers and things like that for pickups, because no one wants to take the subway late at night anyway. So,
Sure.
so just that alone
Well,
on your
if I
special
may,
events,
the
to
special
me
events.
still requires a presentation of some kind of traffic plan before I can approve it.
Sure. So
That's
the
fine.
special events will be corporate events for those in the building.
Yeah,
I
but
understand that, but these people are not going to go home by the subway at 11 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock and 9 o'clock at night. They're going to be Ubers and pickups and things like that. That'll be double, triple parked. We have situations like that all over the neighborhood, over here in North Tribeca too. So I'm unfortunately here your avoidance to want to do a traffic plan for us. Me personally,
wouldn't say
I'm
avoidance.
voting in opposition to this.
okay. So
thing
Mark,
until they get one.
I got you,
So,
but I
all right.
want to do Mariama and Pat, but I want to say something to Lindsay.
Certainly.
Perhaps you put the wrong number in, Lindsay, and you want to tell us what those private events can, you anticipate the number being. But the way it already is, you are a large venue because you're over 75 persons within that area, and it's considered a large venue according to our guidelines. So, and what we mean by a traffic plan is, do you plan to have security out there? Is there someone who is going to direct traffic? I mean, it doesn't have to be, I'm not asking for something super extensive, and I'm willing, if my committee will agree to meet before the larger meeting. Let me go back. When do you anticipate opening?
I have Sarah on the line. Sarah, would you be able to provide the anticipated opening date and also advise how large you expect the private events to be, like what the capacity for private events would be? That way we can add some differentiation between all, this whole large space has a capacity of 530, but we're not expecting 530 people to just vacate the building for these very rare private events.
All right, so I'm going to call on Mariama and then Pat.
Oh, actually, I was just asking Sarah, she's my client on the line, if she could respond to your question that you just asked, because I want to make sure that we give you all of the information. I also have Mark DePiero on the line. I'm not sure if he has been promoted up and is able to speak, but he can raise his hand now and provide you with some additional details. And then if we can't come to an agreement tonight, we can put together a traffic plan. I don't want you to think we're avoiding doing that.
Okay. All right. So I don't need any other questions answered at the moment. I would like to call on Mariama and then Pat from the committee.
Thank you,
Mariama?
Susan. Yes.
Yeah.
So the problem with this, I mean, it's not a problem necessarily. The difference between your intention on having a large event that would meet the parameters for our, what we call a large venue and have certain requirements, and your just licensing the space. So if you're going to make corrections to the number of occupants for a given space, it needs to be based on what you intend to license. That's separate from what you plan to have as an event. If you want us to license an event space with an occupancy of 530, then we have to count it as a large venue of 530, which would make you only 70% people actually short of another license requirement. You'd be pushing the cabaret license requirement with that number. So it is a lot. And in this neighborhood, I mean, it's not just that we're like, uppity and don't want anybody parking on the block. We actually have even like a moratorium on street fairs and stuff on Broadway. Broadway has been brought down to 2 lanes. So we can't afford to have black cars parked on Broadway, like for any amount of time at all. We just really can't. And I'm sure the members are going to be hesitant to vote for something like that. You're going to have to figure out a traffic plan. But again, if you meet that large venue requirement, one of the requirements of those guidelines is that you have to provide a traffic plan. It's not like a choice, like do we feel like it or does the committee feel like it's necessary in this occasion? It's standard for large venues. It's required. So you have to determine the space, the occupancy of the space you want to license for liquor, and that's what we'll look at.
Sure.
Thanks, Mariama. Pat?
I mean, I basically wanted to reiterate what both of you said. If the number is incorrect, then tell us what the number is. Also, just explain again, it's only an in-house event space, so you won't have anyone arriving to come to this from outside. That's number 2. Number 3, I live a block away from this building. I know the area well. We have the bike lane. We always have people triple parked already, even though they're not supposed to be. And especially during rush hour, it's insane to try to get down Broadway. So again, give us the correct number and tell us if there are only people from within the building who will be going to a special event. Thanks.
So, Lindsay, the point being, I'm not sure Pat heard, you want 2 private events. Well, you want more, but if we were to give you private events, we would give you 2 a month, and you would expect those to be a large venue. We need to know the number you're anticipating, because they're going to be outsiders. That's what Pat is talking about. It's not going to be the whole building coming downstairs. It's a huge office building. So that's something. And I think most of all, is there someone who can answer the question of when you anticipate occupancy, when you want to open, because then we don't have to go on, and I can postpone you for the next month and we could move forward.
Sure. Would you be able to unmute Mark DePiero, who's on the line? He wanted to have a chance to answer some of your questions. Mark, if you could raise your hand.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I'm with Arch Amenities Group, and we're going to run the conference center side of this business. And it's a corporate meeting facility and tenant lounge for the building. And the large room seats 120 people classroom style, and it can fit about 200 people in theater style. And it's for the theater style will be for like town halls for the like Brown Brothers Harriman's the big tenant in the building. And they'll come down once a quarter and have a theater for 3 or 4 hours, have a meeting to talk about their business. And that's primarily what this space is for from the meeting side. And there's a tenant lounge with a pool table and a maybe a shuffle, no, not pool table, a shuffleboard table. We changed that. And a little grab and go food service so they can have lunch there because there's not a lot of places to eat. And then there's a coffee bar that'll be serving barista coffees. And then they're going to serve, then we'll have private receptions for, when we say a private event, it's a reception for, if someone has a meeting, the average size meeting that we projected is going to be about 60 people, 50 to 60 people, because that room divides in half. So you could have 2 groups of 40 or 50. So maybe 100 people max in the space on average. And then they may have a cocktail party from 5 to 6 after their meeting and go home. And from the outside, typically what happens if a company has a meeting, most of the people will be from their office, but they'll have outsiders coming in from out of town. So maybe 5 or 10% of that 50, maybe 5 or 10 people will be coming in from outside. So it's not going to be like all 500. It's not like an event space where 500 people come in. It's supplemented. So it's just sort of like a supplementary exterior people.
Your application isn't clear enough for us. Let's be real clear. And so I'm going to suggest that rather than beat around the bush and that you come back next month with all the things you've heard us talk about and give us very clear answers and what those private parties or private events that you want to have twice a month or 3 times a month that you had asked for, and what hours you were going to have. Lindsay told me till 11 p.m. and that's traffic. Pardon me?
Yes, at the max, it's 11 o'clock.
Well, that's okay. We need to know that. Your application wasn't clear enough, Mark. And
Okay.
I'm suggesting come back
Can I
in
ask
May.
Yes, can I ask a question just so when we come back, we're clear? When you say private event, we call, like, if the group from the building comes down and they have a meeting and then they have 30 people that have a cocktail party, we call that a private event because it's only for them and no one else can go there. Most of I think, are private event for the people that are there.
Well, the question for us, so if I can be clear, or Pat may want to help me with this one. The real issue, I understand within the building, but if it goes late, people like to take a private car.
Sure.
That's what we're talking about in terms of the traffic, or having someone at least coordinated, because that's a funny intersection, the funny area there. And so, but that's not how any of this was presented originally. And it was as if there were going to be all these people coming. So you just have to clean up that application
Okay.
so we understand it.
Yeah, it's
And Mark, let's discuss these items in more detail offline.
Sure.
But I think yes, let's hold it over if you don't mind.
Great.
And we'll provide you with a breakdown of the usage of each space, so that
That's
way it's
perfect.
more clear.
Thank
And
you.
we'll-
So it'll
and
be
we
a
will
separate
provide you with
sheet.
yeah.
All right. So we'll
Susan, the
see you-
thing is that they say some events will be only in-house, but some won't.
Well,
So
that's what we're.
that's the
Will be
kicker.
a few, yes.
Mark, we're asking them to clarify totally. So let's leave it to
Absolutely.
them and come back in May. Mariama, you have a last?
Yeah, Nej, is there something that we can give them in advance about our large venue guidelines or no?
Yes, they actually do have the guidelines.
They have
Oh,
it all,
okay.
Mariama.
Okay,
They have to
wonderful.
read it.
Thank
Yes, you
you.
have to read it, so you'll be
If
ready
you
next
need-
time.
If you
Thank you.
guys need any help, just feel free to reach out to me via email with your questions, and I can help you.
Find out when they're opening though?
It's September 1st right now. It keeps on
So we
changing.
have, yeah.
Yeah, the construction never is on time.
Yeah, we know that. So come back in May and we'll see you then. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go to 1 Wall Street. Barbara, I believe, is here. So I'm gonna let Barbara and whoever may be with her to kind of give, if there was a tour, some of us went on the tour of, it's One Wall Street, and it is going to be a Parisian department store and brought here to One Wall Street, and it's going to be really next to the Whole Food. It's going to be by the Whole Food, and then it's going to get interrupted by the Whole Food, and then it has another space. And I'll let them talk, and Onesh can go through the hours and whatever else.
Thanks, Susan.
You're welcome.
So this, as Susan mentioned, is for a department store that will have 5 food and beverage offerings within the building. We are seeking a full liquor license with no objection from Trinity, which is reflected in the paperwork. There'll be no outdoor space. The general store hours will be 10 to 8 p.m. Sundays will be 11 to 6 p.m. The longest hours would be for the cafe, and the brasserie, which may open at 8 a.m. and the latest closing would be 11 p.m. The hours are outlined on a separate attachment just because there are varied hours. Their total throughout the 3 floors, there'll be 5 stand-up bars. I do have some folks from Printemps here I'd like to introduce very quickly if they aren't already brought in. It's Laura Lendrum, who is the CEO, who led the first tour. I know Francis was on that tour, and there were some other folks from the board. Mary Jane Puanco, who gave the tour on Wednesday, who met with a lot of the committee members who were present. Stephen Belinsky, who's the project manager for construction, and David Koisman, who's our traffic engineer and consultant on the project. I think the paperwork speaks for itself. There was a fair amount of outreach. There are detailed plans included, but we're here and happy to answer any questions there may be.
Coming from me, I don't know, I'm willing to hear from the community from my committee members and anybody else who's out there. But it was a pretty special tour, and it's a great space, and their hours are fine, and the traffic, all of it seems to be within reason. So I don't have any objections. So there you are. Does anybody have any questions? You want to go through it more? You know, Barbara knows us pretty well. They may be back if they're successful to ask for longer hours in the future, but we're gonna have them for a year to at least see how it all works, and I do hope it works. Barbara, when do you anticipate occupancy, or Mary Jane, when do you anticipate?
Sure. We anticipate opening in spring 2024. Which I'm sure begs the question why we're starting so early, but I'm sure on this committee everybody understands that it's taking quite a long time. And also in connection with the presentation I gave last month with seeking the legislative carve out, we're required to present to CB1 before we seek the carve out.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions? I urge you all to go see the Red Room when it opens. It's really pretty special. Well, if there are no questions, can I call the question and somebody second and we could vote?
Second.
Okay, so I'm going to say, anybody against? Anybody abstain? Go for it, Barbara. The rest of us are in favor, so thank you.
Thanks so much.
And thank you. I want to say thank you also for doing your homework, all of you. And Mary Jane was a great hostess. It was great to see. So thank you all.
Thank you. Have a good one. Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
That was awesome.
Let's go to 80 Nassau Street. Is anybody here from Nassau Street? Ganesh? Thank you. Well, is somebody here? Well, if not, let's move along and skip them for now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking and I didn't realize.
No,
I
we're
was
here.
muted.
Hi,
Oh,
good
that's
evening,
here.
everybody.
Thank you.
Yes. Hi, Anthony Carabao, the representative for this app.
Okay.
Do you
From
have
ADA.
anyone with you
Nice to
today,
be here tonight.
Anthony?
Yes,
Who else is with you today?
the general manager of the premises, Chanit, should be on the call.
Chanit, you may unmute. And take it away.
Great, thank you so much, everybody. In the spirit of Chairperson Cole saying it's a busy agenda, hopefully this will be an innocuous application for you all. I also have a meeting with CB2 in Queens, started at 6:30 on number 7 on that agenda. So keep that in mind if you'd be so polite to do so. So this is a beer and wine application, everybody, for 80 Nassau Street. Prior, there was a establishment called Stamina Grill and Juice Bar, dates back to 2013 on Google. So there was a restaurant there before. My clients coming in are extremely responsible and law-abiding operators, Kanrutai Makmuang and Chachai Huadawanta. Between them, they've had 10 licenses with the State Liquor Authority. They currently have, and I'll name some of them quickly for you. They currently have 3 active licenses. Kanrutai, she has 22 Noodle Corp. That's Manhattan CB6 since 2010. Ramen Majin, Manhattan CB8 since 2014. And she has a place in Williamsburg, Brooklyn since 2018. Her partner, Chachai, also has many licenses. I will save the committee's time. He has 4 active licenses and 2 prior. Most of them are full liquor licenses. This is a very small establishment. There is only 9 tables, 21 seats. The hours of operation from 11:30 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. No outdoor seating. Background music only. Projected 15 employees. Will make every effort to hire locally. And I will answer any questions that the committee may have for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Uh,
Okay, there's a picture of where it is on Nassau. It's by, I think it's between Ann and something else. I can't remember the other street, but.
It's Fulton and John, Chairperson.
Fulton and John, yeah,
Right, that's it.
it's small.
Karen, you have a question?
Yeah, my only question was, do you have windows that open?
No, they will not have windows that open.
Okay, all right, fine.
And your
I'm happy to
garbage
call the
collection?
question, Susan.
Oh, good. I love it.
Okay.
Second,
Second,
so any rejections? Any recusals? I forgot the last time to say abstentions.
Susan, I was gonna ask you a question about deliveries.
Oh,
You were gonna ask it, I
Ask it.
think. Yeah.
I think it's in there, but Anthony, when did you put down you're going to have deliveries?
Yeah, I can check real quick. I think we put normal standard business hours or the morning.
Time.
Bear with me. I mean, I would say standard business hours during the day, 9 to 5. I'm not finding it yet on the.
Right. 9, okay. 9, not before 7, right?
Yeah,
No,
it wasn't
no.
before 7. I
Okay,
saw it in there.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Who else,
Yeah.
if somebody else have a question? Otherwise, we called it. I'm supposed to vote to blah, 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 blah. So I don't.
I
wanna-
I'll ask a question on behalf of Francis, who's not here. Do you have an accessible bathroom?
Oh, bless your heart.
So, it's an as-is scenario, but if you look at the plan, which I'm also looking at right now, I can't interpret the measurements, but I think the bathroom was there, guys, so it's a prior scenario. This building's been there for quite some time. I can get you an answer on that. But when I'm looking at the plan, I can't determine it, or it looks to me like it's an existing, that they just did cosmetics and there wasn't a major renovation. The bathroom remained.
And it's on the same floor?
Yes.
And it's
Okay.
the ground.
So, hearing no rejections, recusals, abstentions, go to your next meeting, Anthony.
Thank you so much, guys. Have a pleasant evening. This was a great meeting. Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Sure it is. Yep.
sure it is, when we move right along. All right, next one is 45 West Broadway,
Okay.
Barcade.
45. Paul, I see you. Paul, do you have anyone joining you tonight? Paul, you may unmute.
Hello?
See you?
Not working?
Yes. Yes.
Put your hand down, Karen,
Oh, okay.
please.
Hmm.
I
So,
have- Oh, go ahead.
so, I just want to understand your, if I understand correctly, Paul, you are a large venue.
We are, yes.
What's the maximum? Tell me again.
Of occupancy?
Yeah, of people you can have at your,
Well,
in there.
We will need to be revising the C of O from its prior use, but I mean, based on our experience, this will be our 10th Barcade location. I think we'll expect about a 250-person occupancy.
Do you expect to have what they call breakouts? I think that's what they call it. Big events, parties,
Buyouts.
buyouts. Thank you.
And at that size, I think it would be pretty prohibitive. You know, I can go through and we sent a good amount of information about our company. I'm the co-founder and CEO. We mostly appeal to a happy hour after work crowd. We develop a lot of regulars. We do a lot of corporate business. Most of it is happy hour groups. We do the occasional buyout, but again, it's a company buyout. It's not we don't do DJs or have hosts or have parties or things like that.
Well, we'll put it in our in the resolution and the stipulation.
Yeah, we don't, if what you mean is like that we allow someone to host like their own theme event in our space, we'd never do that ever.
Okay, it's also in terms of having 250 people every week come in and out for an event.
Sure.
I mean, that's what we're really talking about. I want you to understand that.
Sure. Yeah, and we do occasionally do buyouts. Like we have 3 other locations in New York City. Our original location, which has been open since 2004, is in Williamsburg. We have a location on 24th Street in Chelsea and a location on St. Mark's Place. Those 2 both opened in 2014. And we do occasional buyouts there. They are much smaller size, so this would be more of like a flagship type location for us, where we can put a lot more games that we can't fit in our other locations.
Karen, you have a question?
I don't remember seeing the hours. What hours?
We were requesting a noon to 1 a.m. Sunday through Thursday and noon to 2 on Friday and Saturday. I don't think we'll use the 1 a.m. during the week, but you know, we need to kind of get a sense of the neighborhood, I think.
It's a little late for a newcomer.
We're very nice.
I'm sure you are. That's not the issue.
That's, yeah. Who else? Oh, Nez, you want to say something?
Yeah, I have a question. Just circling back to the corporate buyouts. You said you have a few of them. What's a few I need in terms of how many per month?
Oh, I mean, I would say that you know, the clients that book us out, say in Chelsea, I mean, are like JP Morgan, Capital One, Citibank, Meta, Google, like Spotify, stuff like that. So a lot of times it's like that. We do a lot of law firm buyouts. A lot of times they're not necessarily looking to fill the occupancy, but just have the exclusivity of the space. So, you know, sometimes we get buyouts that are, although we have a 250-person occupancy, they're only bringing 60 people just because they want the place to themselves. And I would say, I would say maybe at the most we would ever have would be like one a week at the most. I mean, but you're also talking about these are mostly happy hour times, like 5 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah, but you know, we can't control all of that.
And I can't
No.
say for sure.
I would say, Paul, that my suggestion, I don't know what the committee will think, is I wouldn't give you more, at least for, I want you to come back and see how you do, not 1 week at all. I would be, I would give you 2 a month. I think that would be reasonable. Originally, I was going to say 1, but I'm willing to go to 2 a month. But that's it. We're not going to, until you can come back afterwards. I don't know who you are. And I have to see what we all have to see the traffic and what happens and how it goes. You must understand what concerns us always is everybody behaves very nicely in your place, let's say. They get out on the street and all the neighbors hear them
Sure.
and carrying on. And that's the real issue for us as a community. And that's what we try to avoid. So I would give you 2 a month. I think the committee would be acceptable. And if you think you need more, you'll come back to us.
Would
Yeah.
you would you be willing to word them as a you know, in a way that if we do get, say, let's say you know, Morgan Stanley wants the place private, but it's only 50 people, you know, would you be willing to call them 2 buyouts at capacity, so as to not count ones that are just very minor, or at, you know, 2/3 capacity or more? Because we do get, most of our buyouts would be that type and not someone looking to fill the place.
I would want to hear from my committee, Mariama, Karen, whatever.
Susan, can I respond to that?
Yeah, Mitch.
Then I'm not saying I'm for or against it, but if they have, that's not really a buyout. A buyout to me is where a company comes in or private entity comes in and takes the whole place. So it's like, let's say if you're having a party for 20 or 30 or 40 friends, but you know, just within the regular, you know, the business is not closed to the public, then that's not a buyout. Or am I not interpreting it correctly?
No, you're interpreting it very correctly, Mitch.
So then he shouldn't. If JP Morgan has you know, 30 or 40 or 50 people over at the place, that would not be considered a buyout.
It would if it's just them.
If it's just them, yes.
If it's just them, it's a buyout.
Right. But if for the operator then to know, okay, so that would be the parameters. They, you know, if it's just them, then it's a buyout. But if they're within, you know, having like a party, like on a couple of tables on the side of the place, then it wouldn't be a buyout.
So
She was saying,
I'm going to propose, so we can, before I call back on Karen, I'm going to propose that we do 2 a month, and that you can come back to us in 6 months. I'm willing to see how it goes and see how you do. And you're going to be, I don't know, when do you anticipate opening?
Oh, honestly, I mean, I don't think we'll be aiming to open until fall 24. Once we would have to do full construction in that space, so it's going to be some time.
I would suggest we leave it and then let's see. You'll be through the winter time, which is a pretty good time, as much as summer if people like to be outside. And we can see, and we would put in our resolution, you would come back, we would give you 2 a month, and you could come back in 6 months. Anybody have any, Karen, your hand is still up. You want to ask something?
Yeah, I'm a little concerned about the hours. That's an area that actually has a goodly amount of residential around it. And I'm concerned about how late it would be on weekends and during the week. I think I would move them back an hour. Instead of, weekends at 2, weekends at 1, and then at least for the first 6 months of operation, weekdays at midnight. But I just wanted to say that we can't really evaluate this until they've gone through a summer being open. And,
That's true.
and if they're,
I'm sorry.
if they're open, they're planning on opening not even this year, but sometime next year, then it's possible that that summer would actually be the summer of 25. That would be the first summer that you'd be open. Is that right?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah. So they would be coming back. I'd like to write it up as they would be coming back to ask for additional hours, assuming everything is fine after the summer of 25, no earlier than after the summer of 25.
I guess, I don't usually disagree. I would give them 6 months. I don't mind the hours changing, but I'd review them all in 6 months. And he's going to know the community and know us already. I'd like to be a little successful. So I think that I don't mind the hours, but I'd still let him. If we reduce the hours, I'd make him come back in 6 months.
Right, providing he's gone through a summer.
Well, I don't know.
Because that's when noise becomes the big problem.
Not so in my neighborhood, kiddo.
Can I say that our busy season is the winter
Yeah, I know that. I know
Okay.
that.
as a
All right,
we're very much an indoor.
That's why I'm loath.
Okay. All right, then
and-
scratch that. Scratch it.
All right. And Paul, my suggestion, and we're going to put it in, that you will really monitor the traffic that goes out into the community, that you will have some security that makes sure that they're not out there screaming and carrying on.
Absolutely. We're very experienced at this, and we did put a security plan that shows kind of our standards for our other locations. We are taking care to try. What we want to do is have our main entrance on West Broadway, as opposed to having it. Our only accessible entrance would have to be on Park, but that's what we would use that for, emergency exit and accessible only, and try to keep the traffic on West Broadway. We're not the kind of place that has a line or a rope or anything like that. And, we know that we need to move people along. We don't have any windows that open. The windows will mostly be covered over by games.
So, are there any other questions or concerns? Anybody? Okay. So we are going to reduce your hours for the 6 months. I'm not going to give up on that one. I think Karen's right. And you'll come back. I have no trouble. All right. So I need a call question in a second, please.
Call the question.
Okay, I need a second, somebody. Wake up.
Second, sorry, I couldn't get to my button.
All right. So do I have any against? Do I have any recusals? Do I have any abstentions? Good luck, Paul.
Thanks very much. Have a good rest of your meeting.
Thank you. Okay. Moving right along to 66 Pearl Street.
Yes, Frank, I see you. And
who is there for 66 Pearl Street?
Where's Paul? You, Paul? Oh, there you are. Okay, Frank and Paul, I moved you over.
Who?
Frank and Paul.
Frank Palillo?
Mm-hmm.
How could you possibly ask 4 a.m. knowing who we are? I almost fell off my chair. I just have to say that.
I hope it wasn't a high chair. Hey, Susan, how are you?
No, it was a small chair, Frank. All right. Go
And
through.
he's got a rooftop.
Oh, the whole business. He knows. He's already primed. All right. Anybody questions? I do have questions. I mean, you have windows, you have let me see your hours. You're a large venue. You have music, if I'm not mistaken. It's only recorded. Okay.
Is 90 seats a large venue?
Now it is
Yes.
based on we got
Anything over
Mariama got us
74.
going. She was really good. So anything over, isn't it 75, Mariama?
Anything over 74, 75 and above.
75 and above, Frank.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
correct. We use the Department of Buildings guidelines. That's what they constitute is a large venue.
So that's what it is. So what is this place? Talk to us, please.
Paul? Paul, you
This-
in?
Yeah, can
Yeah.
you guys hear me? So this was the old Porterhouse / Lovelace space on 66 Pearl Street that goes through to 36 Water Street. So we're looking to make it a Southeast Asian restaurant with dishes from all over Southeast Asia.
Well,
Yes,
let
we
me
just
just
wanted
interrupt. Can
to-
everyone else introduce themselves who are on the meeting?
Sorry, I'm Paul O'Connor. I'm one of the principals for 66 Pearl Street.
Anyone else
I
on this,
also-
on this with us?
Not right now. We're on a text chat and they're listening in via just a phone login.
Okay.
I'm also one of the owners at Mad Dog and Beans on Stone Street and Etrusca on Stone Street.
I think that's why you got carried away for 4 a.m.
Well, what I'm pointing at is, if you could keep scrolling up, the extensive experience in this neighborhood that this team has. And there's no rooftop, Susan.
Yeah.
There is no rooftop. I thought there wasn't.
So-
I didn't
I
know.
saw-
I
I
mean,
thought I
there's a
saw it.
roof, but we're not gonna have anything out there.
Well,
So on
sure,
the
yeah.
the
Go on.
people involved in this location have Havana Social, Route 66, Beckett's, Mad Dog and Beans, Stone Street Tavern, the Cauldron, Etrusca, all on Stone Street. That's just in this neighborhood. So we've been in this neighborhood. Ronan Downs he's on here. He's on the phone. He's been here since the early 90s, mid 90s with Beckett's.
Neighborhood's
Dave
our
Matthews.
wheelhouse.
Yeah, this is where I am right now on 83 Pearl Street. So this is what we know. This is where we are. For us, this is a cuisine that's missing in this neighborhood for this kind of setting. There's lots of fast casual, Asian and Southeast Asian. So we want something as just more seated. So the
It's a
location
great
that was
idea. Yeah.
so the location that was there. Remember, Lovelace has
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the gin bar on the Pearl Street side and the Porterhouse on the Water Street side. They're both not terrible, like the decent sized bars. It's a difficult bar to staff. It's a long bar. But we think that we can make it attractive to the area with something additional down here that's not really covered at the moment. Yeah, so that's what we're looking to do. And it's the same partners that are here, myself, Tom Ryan, James Hendrick from Mad Dog and Beans, and then from the other group in the area, we have Ronan Downs, Dave Massey, and Roberta Souza. So between the six of us, lots of experience and lots of experience in this area. And so between us, we also have many different cuisine types. So that's why,
I
that's why
got it.
this-
Before I call on you, Mark, I just want to say, Paul, one of the issues, since I live on Stone Street, and
Mhm.
is that life has changed and the patronage of places has changed. And so that people drink and come out, and we are the recipients of terrible behavior. And even though you can try as you want, you're not the police, and you can
Yeah.
really do much in terms of security. So I am personally loath to give you till 4 this first time around. I would need to hear from Joel and Megan and other people on the committee to see what they think. Mark has his hand up, so I'm going to call on him first. But I would not, this first time around on this one, I'd like to see how it works. The 4 is just too hard for me. And on the
Okay.
weekends, I understand, but I have to listen to my committee. Now, do you have windows? Do you not?
There are windows there that the windows don't open.
Okay. All right. Mark, go.
Oh, yeah, Susan, I agree. What of the other venues? What are the closing times?
4. They're
They're
all
Yeah,
all,
4.
but they were
And-
grandfathered, right?
Well, it wasn't grandfathered. We did it and we have left it.
Remind me.
In all honesty to all of them, and I want to say this out loud, they try to do the best they can. However, that the clientele has changed, and how people maraud on the street has changed, and
Yeah.
it is a problem for the community. We wouldn't take anything away from what exists now, but I would come to some compromise and allow you, not 4, and certainly not on the weekends and on the weekends.
How many OP licenses within 500 feet?
Ooh,
There's quite
It's
a
a
few.
requirement on the
Yeah.
application.
yeah, there are a lot.
I know. I want to know how many.
Oh, we'd have to put it to Frank. to
27.
tell.
27.
27.
Yeah, so that's
I was going to say 4, but
yeah, that's a lot. Plus the beer
I
and
mean,
wines and everything, but it's a lot.
We-
27.
We live with Stone Street, and Joel can correct me. I do
Yeah.
want to hear from Joel, Mark. But they really do try to be good neighbors, and when we have, but it's the real issue of when they leave and they move out, you can't control the street and you can't control the traffic. And it's the way our world is at this moment. And I would limit the hours at least for the first year, 6 months to a year. Joel, do you have something to say, please?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone that was mentioned as a principal does a really good job of being a restaurateur in the neighborhood. And they certainly know the neighborhood better than anybody else. And, my hat's off to Stone Street as running professional operation. Of course, there are things that they do, wrong, but there's a lot of things they do right as well. The 4 a.m. for me doesn't work at this point, maybe later on, but it's not Stone Street, that's for sure. And there has been some problems with Francis Tavern. They've taken the liberty of having outside bands in the street during COVID and everything else, and they just didn't want to hear about not doing that. But these are good people, they're good operators, but I would not do 4 a.m. And I think there is a void of that type of food, so I'm looking forward to that. And I'm sure they'll do a great job. I'm sure a lot of people in this neighborhood will go and eat there. But, at the get-go, not 4 o'clock. Stone Street is a very, very different animal. And like Susan said, people's eating and drinking habits have changed after COVID. It's just a little bit different. So I would compromise on the hours.
guys, I just have to say, at the risk of having Susan pull off a chair again, if you're talking about reduced hours, like something like 2 a.m., that's what should be given to anybody coming into this neighborhood. This is a proven staff, over 70 years, management team, ownership, over 70 years experience in this neighborhood. combined.
Well, I hope
Combined.
I hope they're paying you a lot of money to say that, Frank.
Happens to be the truth.
No,
No.
I understand that, but
You know how
also
he
understand-
prefaced it.
You also understand how fair the community board is. So for you to take that stance is very unfair. It's very unfair. We are
Joel, I don't know how you got aggression out of what I said. This is a discussion.
No, it's fine. Everybody shh, because I want to get through this. So Paul.
Susan?
Oh, yes, Megan,
Oh,
go.
hi, it's Meg. Just being a neighbor, I know you had mentioned you wanted to hear from me. I agree with what both you and Joel have said. I think, as already said, we have numerous licenses. We're adding another one. Let's test the waters to see how this additional one. This is also a very large space, Lovelace through the Porterhouse. So I think there's a bit large capacity there. Let's see how it, adds to the neighborhood, if it has any effects, adverse or not, and come back in, I think it's 6 months. I don't think that's a huge hardship, and I think it's fair.
The risk of being argumentative, we're not adding, we're replacing.
Well, we understand, but you know what? Yeah. Before I call on Miriam, Mark, were you done? Take your hand down if you're done, please. If you're not, I'll call back on you after Mariama. Mariama?
Yeah, I totally get where Frank is coming from, and with all due respect to, our already existing neighbors, the applicants, this street isn't the same as Stone Street. Stone Street is designated for, this all-night dining and drinking and partying. And the community board, as Joel already has stated, supports that fully. Every year we go ahead and we sign another resolution allowing for all the restaurants to do this, to remain open. So it's not that we're against it, but this is a different street, a street that's not designated for such, and we have to be considerate of the other neighbors on the block. So I think that should be understandable, and I agree with Joel that I think it's fair what we're saying, and Megan, that we would still have a trial period even though we're familiar with this owner.
Okay, so despite what Frank would say, I would give you on the weekends till 2, and I would give you till midnight on the others. I would.
Susan, can I stop you a second?
Yeah, go on.
Roberta
Frank.
has her hand up. She's trying to speak.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see. Okay, Roberta, go to it. You have to unmute yourself. I think Onej has done that.
Hi, good evening. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
How are you? My apologies, by the way. I'm a new mom, so I have a baby with me, just in case you hear some noises. I want to thank you guys for hearing us tonight. And then one thing I do want to mention, I know you guys are super familiar with Stone Street. I know you guys don't want any more 4 a.m.s, but it's going to be hard for us to have a chance when everyone around us has a 4 a.m. Would you guys consider at least on the weekends, like on a Friday and Saturday?
No, not for 6 months. Not going to do it. I understand, Roberta, but we're just not going to. I think we're going to give you till 2 on the weekends. And I would, the issue for me, I would hear from Megan and Joel about the weekdays. And Mariama, you still have your hand up.
Yeah, who are the places, or what are the places that are 4 a.m.? Because I'm closer to Pearl and Water, I think, than you guys. I'm over there. What are the places that are until 4 a.m. that you're comparing yourselves to?
On the south side of Pearl, there is nothing that is till 4 a.m. anymore, and that nothing really exists. There's a coffee place. There's this new open food court, and they have limited hours. And it's the
Two dispensaries.
Yeah, the Pearl Street, which is really mostly everybody spills onto Stone Street that has the
Correct.
4 a.m. The
Right,
rest,
that's correct, yeah.
So I'm willing, the question for Megan and Joel, for me, before I call on Jean, is I think the weeknights, your issue is Asian food, and that's what your venue is. Do we give them till 1? Do we give them till midnight? I mean, I'm willing to, I would like to hear from my neighbors to know what they think we should do. And then I'll call on you, Jean. Megan, Joel?
I think in this case, look, our neighbor, again, I agree with everything, but I don't, they're excellent operators. I'm not taking that away from them. It's just, are just slammed with, well, like you pointed out, it's a different world right now. We've had these meetings with these patrons that are coming down that just are out of control, disrespectful. I think let's see how it goes with this adding on now. It's like Stone Street's migrating across the street and growing and extent. Let's see how it affects the neighborhood. And give it the trial period we give every other operator. And again, it's 6 months. And quite frankly, I know they're all different cuisines, but really the businesses down here, they're really party destinations more than food cuisine destinations. That just seems to be who's coming down here.
So 2 a.m. on the weekends and midnight or 1 on the weekdays?
Can I just interject for 1 second? I like your 1 a.m. Sunday to Wednesday approach. But when it comes to
Not
the
Sunday. Sunday we'll have to close at midnight. I'm sorry. It's Monday
Okay.
through Sunday.
Okay,
I'm a rigid
Sunday
person.
midnight, Monday to Wednesday, 1 a.m. Okay, I'm okay with that. So but when it comes
Wait a
to
minute,
the,
we didn't say 1 a.m.
No, we didn't. But I'm asking the
I'm saying
question.
that's what I would like that. But I'm
Okay,
saying when it
can-
comes to
can
the
the board-
patrons on the street, when it comes to the patrons on the street, we know what the patrons are. We've been here, but when we opened the Trusca just a couple of months ago, and we're going for a completely different clientele.
Well, listen,
We're
Paul,
trying to
I
change. We're trying to
understand.
change who we bring down here.
We're not being rigid. We're telling you can come back in 6 months. Let's see how you do. All right. I mean, we don't say that to everybody. All right. That's the other
Thank
side
you.
of the coin.
Thank you.
Mariama, do you have anything else you want to say? Okay. Jean?
No, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Thanks, dearie.
Mute
Jean?
myself. I just wanted a couple of things that I just wanted to add. First of all, to the gentleman who's petitioning, we are offering to you what we offer to everybody who comes before us in terms of a waiting period. Despite your very lengthy involvement in the area, everybody's asked for a trial period because every place is different and every establishment is different. So we ask everybody to give us that 6 months to see how it works out. So I just wanted to make sure that you understood that while we respect, your longevity, everybody gets asked to give us.
Gene, and I'm not arguing. I don't want Joel yelling at me. I'm not arguing, but I'm just saying I recognize that, and I just think that if you have operators who've proven themselves in the neighborhood, they're reliable, they're trustworthy. We can say these people know what they're doing. They have 4 a.m.
We're not doubting.
That's fair. I understand.
I think it's a very strong precedent that this board has worked for years to establish. And I'm very proud of the record that we've maintained. Nobody gets extra, nobody gets everybody has to have that tryout period, because you'd be surprised how things change and how venues change. So I think it's a worthy. It's not a long time. 6 months. We used to have a year when I first came on board. When we asked people to try out. That's one. The other thing.
I don't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
The other thing is that You know, while Stone Street is unique and it has a certain vitality and a certain liveliness that's appreciated, spreading it out is not necessarily a good thing in terms of keeping its uniqueness. And so I think we have to be very concerned in terms of how far we want that to go. Once it starts losing its speciality, it would even actually hurt it. So I just think that we need to be careful.
I don't want to take much more of your time, guys, and I do appreciate the time. Our problem is that once you open as a 2 a.m., you're known as a 2 a.m. And that hurts us. Paul, this is your decision, not mine. I mean, it's not my
Frank, I
decision.
think what I was trying to say to you, that maybe I wasn't
Hi,
clear,
Mariana.
is that, hi, is that we agree that the establishment, the owner, are responsible and have been responsible on Stone Street till 4 a.m., where the neighborhood is accustomed to that. Water and Pearl is not accustomed to 4 a.m., but it's just not.
Remember, that's not fair. The current location has 4 a.m. Zigolini's has 4 a.m., correct, Paul?
Correct.
Did it, Paul? I wasn't sure, but it hasn't been open for a while.
A long time, right? I
Well, it's
wasn't
only been
either. Okay.
it's only been a year, but just over a year and a half.
Well,
But yeah,
I'm gonna.
they had.
So you're only being asked to wait 6 months. So that,
We're giving you a shot, all right? So I'm gonna say, we're gonna do the 2 a.m. and we're gonna do, I'm willing, if everybody is in agreement, to give you Sunday, please close at midnight, Monday to Wednesday till 1 a.m. I mean, you got a lot from us. So don't, and you can come back in 6 months. But as I've told you
We
before.
put it on the calendar right now.
Yeah. The real
6 months
issue.
from opening.
The real issue for us is that it's what happens after they leave. I doubt it will be an issue, but give us a shot and we'll give you a shot. So, do
Susan,
I
this
have a
board-
call the question in a
board's
second?
always- This
Susan,
board's
I'm-
always been fair.
Susan, wait.
What are these hours?
Wait, the board
I'm
needs
willing to
talk-
give them.
The board needs to talk about the 1 a.m.
All
I
right.
know you're
then.
very generous giving them, but I'm not sure Megan and I want to do that.
All right. Well, you have to tell the other board members. I'm willing to give them a shot, as long as they close early on Sunday, a reasonable hour. And I'm not. They've been, listen. I just
And
want.
I just don't know what you're proposing. What are you
Me-
proposing? Days of the week and what hours? I didn't understand.
I would give them Monday to Wednesday, Monday to Thursday till 1 a.m. and Friday and Saturday till 2. Or I could give them Thursday, Friday, and Saturday to 2. It doesn't, that, I think that's more reasonable. And I guess if you and Joe want to make it Sunday to Wednesday till midnight, that's up to you. I was going to give them till 1, so.
Well, it's not on just Joel and I. I mean, it's,
I know, and the committee, but the committee's gonna listen to the neighbors and whatever.
I want to hear what Mariama has to say, and Mitch as well.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, with the pandemic, I guess I don't know how long anything's been anymore. It feels like the other restaurants have gone a million years. I'm on Pearl and Water all the time. My bank is there. I was just there today. Got my nails done over there too. So I'm there all the time, and I just feel like they hadn't been there in a long time. But if they were to 4 a.m. as well, and I guess hadn't bothered me, I'm much more comfortable than I was before, in terms of setting a precedent, potentially setting a precedent. So, I'm happy to yield to you and Megan.
Well, Susan, I'll go with what you're proposing. My concern is Lovelace was a small, quiet cocktail bar. Porterhouse, I mean, it just never, that I witnessed, attracted a whole lot of people. So it never became very noisy. The Stone Street establishments are party spots. And I hope and I assume, that they're going to be successful in this new spot. But I think it's going to be an entirely different vibe from what was there.
All right. I got it.
All right.
I got it. I'm going to be put on the spot. So this is what I'm proposing, everybody, and I would need a call the question, whatever. They will have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday till 2 a.m., Sunday to Wednesday till 12 a.m., and they can come back in 6 months.
Call the question.
All right, I need a second. Okay.
Second.
Any rejections? Any recusals? Any abstentions? Okay, Frank and Paul, you've got it.
Thank you, guys.
Have a wonderful night, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you,
You too.
guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody. All right, 88 Wall Street.
Okay, Nick. Oh, Joseph, I see you. Is Nick here? Joseph, you can unmute. Nick Hannigan, you here?
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Joseph. Is Nick here?
I didn't think Nick was making it, actually. We have Tamara was here.
Tamara? Okay, give me a second. Tamara. Oh, there she is. You can unmute Tamara.
It's just
you guys can
Tamara.
Go ahead.
I can get started while we're waiting if you guys would like.
Okay, go to it.
Okay. Joseph Levy here, representing 88 Wall Manager LLC and JJ Hospitality 1 LLC. This is the existing Wall Street Hotel on the corner of Wall and Water. Hotel opened about a year ago. Restaurant on the ground floor, La Marchand. It's getting, a lot of nice press as it's opened. Michelin-starred chef helming that kitchen. Hopefully there have been no issues that you guys have heard of. We certainly haven't. We're a year in the books. The stipulations that were signed back in February of 2020, right before COVID, obviously COVID and a lot of other factors delayed things here, so we just got open a year ago. The focus of the meeting tonight, the change of method of operation, just to be super clear and narrow in what exactly we're asking for. I know there was some discussion last time, and I was not the attorney who presented this original application, but from reading the steps in the minutes, there was some discussion about a roof on the building. That is not what we're talking about tonight. What we're talking about tonight is there is a 6-foot deep terrace area around the 14th floor ballroom space that we agreed to close those doors every night at 10 p.m. And we have no intention of changing that. We're happy to keep that closing of those doors every night at 10 p.m. No music outside, all that fun stuff. What we're asking for is up until 10 p.m., when there is an activation happening up there on the 14th floor, we would like people to be on that terrace space and be able to have a drink. Now, originally, we said that we didn't need that. We could keep everything enclosed. And we've been doing, I think, a pretty good job of keeping everything enclosed. But what winds up happening is you have a wedding event upstairs. People are taking a picture outside. People have a glass of champagne. It's becoming a bit of a challenge to make sure you take that glass out of everyone's hand before they go outside. We understand the issues. We understand, noise and all that. And we are certainly not turning this outdoor space into an extension of the restaurant or anything like that. But we would like the ability to allow people to be out there with drinks up until 10 p.m. when those doors will close as the steps currently state. All the rest of the stipulations that we agreed to with respect to hours, operations, all that, we're not changing a thing. Everything is going to remain the same, but that is the only thing that we're asking for this evening.
Thank you, Joseph.
Sure.
Any questions?
Yeah, lots of questions. 14th floor. So, Susan, they're about a block and a half away from us, and having a large terrace out there with people going out there. I mean, there are roof decks that are 14 or 15 stories high. There's no difference. There is no difference of people going out on a 14th floor on a large terrace with drinks at 10 o'clock at night. Like, seriously?
No, so just to be clear, this is a fairly narrow terrace around the perimeter of the ballroom, and those doors will be closed at 10, and no one will be outside at 10, as they are not outside now.
Yeah, we get to 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is late. And
Well, 10 o'clock is,
where exactly is the wraparound? Is it north, south? Where's it wrapping? East, west? What part of the building?
I believe it faces the Wall Street side, but if I have Tamara on here, he can confirm that.
Yeah, it is. It probably is the Wall Street side. And let me tell you something. You guys did a beautiful job with that hotel. The
Thank
bar
you.
is absolutely fantastic. The people that work there are absolutely amazing. So you guys did an incredible job building that place. I love it. I know what it used to be. But the 14th floor is like being outside. And whether you have a roof deck on the 15th floor or the 8th floor, there's no difference. And I understand about the 10 o'clock, but 10 o'clock for this neighborhood's a little late during the week to have an outdoor terrace or an outdoor roof deck. There's no
Well,
difference.
yeah, I mean, just to be clear, right now we have a stipulation that the doors close at 10 o'clock and people can be outside before that. All we're saying is that we'd like them to be able to have a drink in their hand if possible. And again, we are very, look, you mentioned our build out and I appreciate those comments. And I think that should go a long way to telling you how conscientious we have been with this space. And we've taken a long time to do it the right way. And we've been conscientious every step of the way. And that's, not going to stop anytime soon. And if it becomes an issue, we'll address it and we'll shut it down. And we've been in touch with everyone around us, residential, commercial, neighbors, you name it. We've walked people through the space. We reached out to the community board a number of times actually to see if we could organize a tour, and we'd still love to do that if anyone's interested, just to show you what we're talking about here.
So Joseph, let me
Yes.
interrupt, please, because I'm very confused.
Okay.
Okay, I know what you have. You have till 10 o'clock. And you have it 7 days a week, if I remember correctly. We gave
Correct.
it to you. All right, we didn't change it. And we said that everything would be taken off the terrace at 10 o'clock. So
Correct.
what are you asking for? I'm so confused.
Well, so maybe it's just a clarification then, Susan, because maybe the clarification is just that we are allowed to be outside with alcohol until 10 o'clock, because it's not so clear as
What
to
have
whether
you been doing up until now? What
just
has
allowing
your-
allowing people to go outside to get a breath of fresh air, or if someone is taking a phone call, whatever it is, and not with alcohol.
So no alcohol has been outside at any time.
That's the idea, because we're unclear about this stipulation. We think you can read it two different ways.
So there is no alcohol. You close down no matter what at 10 o'clock. I just want to understand. That's what.
Correct.
Correct. But you have not allowed anybody at any time out on the terrace with alcohol. Am I correct?
That's the understanding, yes.
Of course they have, Susan. If you're paying $20,000 to have a wedding and the bride or the family comes out with a glass of alcohol, nobody's going to tell them to come back inside. What they want to do here is add food and beverage service there. So as opposed to the few people that come out now, they would make it like for a lot more people, which kind of bolsters Joel's apprehension of it, which I agree with. So that, unless I'm reading it wrong, they want to add food and beverage service to the 14th floor outdoor area. So now the people that go out there with a drink in their hand, it's a few people, but now they want to add to that.
No, that's not if you guys are telling me that right now we are allowed to have people outside with alcohol till 10 p.m., no questions asked, and I say thank you for the clarification. Let's just clarify the steps and we'll go home. That's what we're looking for.
We're not foolish, Joseph. I gather that we must have, I don't have the stip in front of me. So
I do.
What does the stip say before I call on Mark? And let Mitch finish. I want to understand.
So I'm going to read you the whereas clause specifically that relates to this. The applicant represented the 14th floor, also known as the 6-foot outdoor area due to the nature of zoning regulations of the building with 7 doors for patrons to access the space. The applicant has agreed that no alcoholic beverages will be served in the outdoor areas. And there'll be not served in the outdoor areas. It doesn't say consumed. So like I said, I think there's room for interpretation here, but we're trying to, approach this in the right way as opposed to being cavalier about it. That's why we're here.
Well, I agree. I would say no alcohol and not to be consumed outdoors, period. That's what I would say, but I don't know what anybody else would say. Mark?
Is the outdoor area included in the license?
Yes, it's all included in the
So-
license, but so are the stipulations from the board that say there's no service of alcohol outside. It doesn't say there's no consumption. And again, we're trying to do this the right way by coming to you as opposed to just interpreting it in our favor.
Got it.
And where does the word service come from? From where did that?
I read
Yes,
it from the
Dean.
whereas clause from the resolution in 2020.
Yeah. Well, generally that's what we say, and it
Here it
means
is, Mark. It's
means-
right
it
there.
means it means you can't have alcohol out there. That's what it basically means. If we need to clarify it more, wordsmith it because of that, but we usually say no service means no alcohol. So it doesn't mean that you can go out there, but there's no bartender.
Yeah, I
So
understand. And
that-
look,
that- that's what-
the distinction for me was
that's not the spirit of the language.
I understand. And the distinction for me was we wanted to get away from a space where there's someone outside pouring glasses of champagne and it creates that environment that nobody wants versus people inside holding a glass of champagne that can walk outside to take a phone call or for a breath of fresh air prior to 10 p.m. I think there's a distinction there. That's why we're here.
All right. Pat?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with it if it's just a matter of people not being served outside, but that they have a glass and they walk outside, and the doors close at 10 o'clock anyway, and so I don't see what the problem is. Before 10 o'clock, if they're outside with a drink in their hand and they're talking, our main concern is the noise.
100%.
Pat, look at the change in the method of operation. That's where they want to provide outdoor service. So it's not just somebody walking outside to take a phone call, but by providing outdoor service, that's increasing the likelihood.
Mitch, if you'd like to strike that and make it super clear that that's not what we're doing, we're happy to do that.
All right, wait, let Pat finish, Mitch.
I'm sorry.
Not
Thank you, though.
asking to serve alcohol outside. What they are saying is that they've been really observing what they believe is the spirit of what our resolution. They've asked people to not go outside with alcohol. Is that right, Justice?
Absolutely.
So now they're asking if we can be a little, lenient and say, okay, it's all right to walk outside with your glass in your hand. They're not
No,
going to-
Pat, that's not what it said. Read, it's number 7, change in method of operation. I'm reading it. To add F&B service to the 14th floor outdoor area. That's exactly what it
Well,
says.
but Joseph just said, so there's a compromise here. And that's what I would like to see.
We're looking for consumption, not service.
Thank you.
So,
I agree. I agree with that then.
Great.
there will be no service, and you can, I happen to agree with Pat. I don't have any trouble, and you've been a decent neighbor so far, and I'm certainly willing to go along with that, but there is no service of alcohol or food outside.
Great. We'll take the consumption.
Susan, so they, okay, I understand that. Okay, fine. So right before the doors, they set up a bar right before the doors before you go outside. They have a bartender there and they set up a bar. So now everybody gets a drink inside and now could just pass through those doors and take that drink to the balcony. Is that right?
Well, that's what Pat and I are saying, but that
We can't we can't just set up bars willy-nilly wherever we want to.
I don't think that's not what the plan showed, Joel.
That's not what the plan shows, but the Seaport just did, the Seaport just did that with that outdoor pier where they changed the bar location from the inside to the outside. They put a rolling bar on the outside of the deck. You can certainly put
They have to
a
come for
rolling
an
bar there.
alteration to do that, Joel.
What's that?
And
They have to come in for an alteration to do that.
Okay.
But the main issue is that they close their doors at 10 o'clock. So even if you have a drink outside, at 10 o'clock, you have to go back inside and the doors are locked. So we are concerned about noise. If we're concerned about noise, we don't want anybody outside with or without a drink after 10 o'clock.
No, I get that, Pat. And it's only about a block and a half from a very large residential building. So maybe it's the 10 o'clock that's bothering me.
Well, that's what they've had so far.
I understand
So,
that.
Joseph is saying we're going to be very clear, and Mitch was saying we're not going to be, they're not going to serve or do anything else. And the original stipulation is going to be clarified very clearly again. Doors shut at 10 o'clock. No alcohol is to be served. There is no service, no food service, no alcohol service outside.
Can I just ask where the bars inside are located? Are they right inside the doors, or where are the bars where they're getting the alcohol? Where are they located in proximity to the roof deck?
So there are a number of doors out to the roof. I think you could see the bar on the diagram there. It's inset on the right back there.
Right-hand
the
side.
elevator. Yeah.
Look, I agree with Pat and Susan. Sorry, Joel. And they've been an asset to the community since they've been here. They waited. They're coming back. And I don't think it's going to cause a problem.
Okay. I think Mitch's clarification is well worth it, and we will clarify it. And Joseph is agreed. So I'd like to have someone call the question in second. Who? Someone going to call the question? Okay, and can someone second?
Second.
Okay, so any noes? Any abstentions? Any recusals? Thank you very much. So Joseph, we got a clarification. We will write it up.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time as always.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. So let's go to Governor's Island.
Well, let me leave.
Ben and James, I've put you over. You may unmute.
Hello.
Hi, good evening. Ben Savitsky, Radio Savitsky.
Hello. Good evening, everybody.
This is on behalf of Grupo Gitano LLC and Gitano NYC LLC. They operate a bar and restaurant on Governor's Island through a seasonal liquor license. We're here on a change in method of operation, and it's to increase the maximum occupancy of the space. Gitano operated last year for the summer. They saw a lot of guests come in over the 4 months that they were there. And Governor's Island, the Trust for Governor's Island thought it was a success, and they renewed them for another year, so they will be operating again this year. They're excited to open in the coming weeks. But last year, the group was very conscious of the max occupancy that they had for the space. It was 590. What it did was it prohibited them from taking large reservations online because they wanted to make sure that people who came over to the island and were walk-ins, that they would be able to accommodate them. The space is very large, 27,000 square feet, and they are currently looking, they have an application in to DOB and FDNY to increase their TPA to the maximum allowable, which would be 950. The Trust for Governor's Island is okay with this. We sent in a letter of support earlier today where they said that they are okay with it contingent on FDNY and DOB approving it. So we're here to you to ask if we can change our method of operation to increase our occupancy from 590 to the 950 that will be allowed legally. There are no other changes to the application. Everything else is remaining exactly the same. And importantly about this, as you guys know, the Trust for Governors Island has a lot of rules that go along with their concessionaires and the people who operate on their island. They still have to abide by all those rules, which means that the last ferry is at 11:30. I think it's 11:30 or 11, and that there can only be a certain number of people on that ferry. James is very familiar with all that, and he's been operating according to those rules and will continue in the future.
So my question, which I don't quite understand before I have James talk or anybody else. So you want to increase it? Do you have a private boat come in and out? Who does this? Because doesn't the Governor's Island Ferry close at a certain time?
It does, and that's, everything is still operating the same way it was last year. The idea is just that, it operates from 11 a.m. to midnight, although we don't go to midnight because the last ferry is 11:30.
Ben, should I just jump in there on the ferry times? So the last ferry in the week is 10 p.m. and on the weekend is 11 p.m. We have, excuse me, we have an agreement with the trust. As Ben says, they're very strict on rules around ferries and guests and so forth, of course. And they're very pleased with us in our first season, and that's why they've written a letter of support to you guys. So the last ferry in the week is 10, the last is 11. So we're not talking about private boats or anyone taking people later than that. In fact, it doesn't change what we did last year in terms of the last boat, where we have to have no more than 200 people on the last boat. So Ben, back to you.
So James, I still am a little dense. Are you proposing to midnight all week?
No, they currently have until midnight.
We're not changing anything. We have agreed hours with you and the SLA that are later than we're actually operating. If we are to do any kind of events, we are able to do that. But we're talking about our normal operating hours are midday. We open at noon for lunch. We close at 10 p.m. in the week, and we close at 11 p.m. on the weekend.
Because that's not what your application says. And I know there's a little caveat that says applicant is requesting the ability to have events where premises will serve to 1:30 with patrons to ferries by 2, if so permitted by Governor's Island.
Yeah, so it's the same. It was approved last year by this community board. It's in our stipulations. It's in the resolution. This is all the same. It's just the same hours that we had last year. We put it in there. No hours.
Why are you before us?
To increase the occupancy from 590 to 950.
That's the basic one.
That's it. There's no other changes.
So that 590 to 950, 5 whatever it is to 590 to 950. Is it for private parties? Is it for public? Are you what changes? Is this now open to everybody who wants to go there, or is this particular venues that have been that you are renting out that are called buyouts or whatever they are? I mean, what is this? That's what I can't.
Sure. It's the only reason that they're asking for this is that last year they were not allowed. They couldn't take large reservations. If somebody wanted to come in with a group of 50 to have a cocktail event or something on one of the areas, they couldn't take the reservation because they were worried that they would hit that max capacity. And the people who came to Governor's Island to just walk in would not be able to come in because they were very strict about that 590. This is all open to the public. There's no private members, anything. It's a place on Governor's Island, and Governor's Island is very strict about being open to everybody.
We're an amenity on Governor's Island, and again, the trust, wouldn't be supporting and submitting the support if we weren't. It's open to the public, and this,
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah, go on.
If you have 950 people there late in the evening, how are they going to get back if the ferry takes only 200?
No. The ferry takes a lot more than that. My agreement and our agreement with the trust, even outside of our stipulations, is to have the later ferries to make sure guests have left, so they're not all leaving en masse. That was what we'd agreed with the trust. So in their letter of support, they're being clear that they're not changing any of those things. There's never a scenario where there is suddenly a full restaurant of people getting on the ferry.
So let me just summarize it a little bit more. So the ferries are what the ferries are. Governor's Island controls them. James has an agreement with Governor's Island where he says that he will limit the number of people coming from his place to the last ferry to 250. That's his responsibility over the night to make sure that everybody is getting out on earlier ferries so that he at the max only has 250 there. That doesn't change with this 950. It's still the same agreement.
All right, I'm going to call on Pat.
I have no problem with them increasing their capacity. The thing I have a problem with is that I want to see the hours corrected on this form. The hours should reflect what your actual hours are. You're not open until midnight. You said you close at 11, correct?
So these are the hours from last year, and the idea is that if Governor's Island does permit them to go until midnight, that the community board was okay with it last year, and we would expect that they'd be okay with it again this year. We're not asking to change our hours.
And I'm fine. I'm fine with everything.
Onesh, you have a question.
Responsibility to make sure there are no stranded patrons on the island. So
That's
their
right.
responsibility-
So does the battery. I mean, so does Governor's Island. Onesh, you wanted to say something?
No, what the trust was in contact with the office today regarding the ferry. The trust and some tenants occasionally and with only their approval do utilize a service called Boat Ride NYC for additional transport options to Lower Manhattan. This is after the public hours between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. So like after that for tenants. And in Gaetano's case, they've only utilized it a handful of times last season. And that service docks at Yankee Pier and doesn't conflict or infringe upon normal public hours and ferry service. I just wanted to highlight that for the committee members.
Well, that would be in our resolution, would it not?
We have in the past stipulation and the resolution that pretty much everything runs through the trust for Governor's Island, and we have to ask permission to do pretty much anything.
Yeah, so even
always, excuse me for interrupting, James, but for us, it's always who comes off that ferry and how do they behave and who controls it. And when they're out gallivanting and carrying on, that's an issue for the community.
Makes sense.
Any other questions or concerns?
I have a question, Susan.
Yes.
On page, and this might be a moot point because nobody lives there. So on page 7 and number 1, where it says, "I will follow the recommendations made by the sound engineer and outlined in the acoustical testing report." Then this next stipulation is crossed out. "I will make sure that noise, including sound and bass vibrations, cannot be heard outside of the premises of my establishment," and that's crossed out. Now, because it's on Governor's Island, that might be a moot point, but I just wanted to bring that up because that stipulation is crossed out.
So this was, thank you for bringing that up. This is our stipulations from last year, and the reason it's crossed out is because if you scroll down a little bit more, the agreement that we came to with you guys was, if you go down a little bit further to number 14, that the volume is not going to be heard by anybody in Manhattan residences on Lower Manhattan.
Okay. I just see from 10 and then it skips to 15 on what I'm looking at.
No, well, it's if you look at the screen now and you read 14, it's there.
No, I can't. I'm on my phone, so I was just looking at the computer.
But
with
it's
what...
there. It's
Okay,
there.
I believe you, and that's all good. So thank you. I just saw that crossed out. I just wanted to.
Thanks, Mitch.
All right, bye. Thank you.
So, if there are no other questions or concerns, can I have a call the question and can I have a second, please?
Call the question.
All right, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, so here we go. Any recusals? Abstentions? Noes? Motion carries. Good
Thank you
luck,
all so
guys.
much.
Thank you.
Miriam and Megan, are your videos on? Cameras?
Okay,
Miriam?
yours is on.
Hi,
Okay.
I'm here. Yes, here.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to Battery Park. Let's keep going, guys. I want to not keep you forever. So, and the Tribeca is not simple. So let's go. I didn't. I'm going over. I'm letting the renewals go away unless somebody has a question about them, and we haven't heard any concerns at the community board. So I want you to know that. All right, Battery Park, 200 Liberty Street.
Max, I just moved you over.
Hello.
Hello, Max.
Hi, Susan. Hi, everybody. Also, who should be raising their hands, Onej, and getting moved over is Ryan Phelps and Matt Fauerbach. If Ryan and Matt, you can do your raise your hand function on the bottom, and while you get moved over, I'll get started. So, hi, nice to see everybody again. I'm Max Bookman. I'm an attorney. My law firm is Pozeski and Bookman. With me is Ryan Phelps and Matt Fauerbach from GolfZon.
We have to wait. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I wasn't unmuted. I apologize. Sorry.
Okay. So this is going to be in Brookfield Place. And their business is a golf simulator, eating and drinking establishment. So the main thing they do, the thing that draws people, is that they have golf simulators. And so if you see on the floor plans, a good chunk of their premises in Brookfield Place, both on the first and second floor, is golf simulator rooms. And for those who don't know what that is, they have a very high-tech and high-end version of this where you for those who like to golf, you stand as if you're about to tee off. You have a real golf club, you have real golf balls, and you hit it into a screen that doesn't break when a golf ball is hit into it. And their technology is really great. It's like you're standing there on Pebble Beach teeing off. And they've done this. They've done versions of golf and hospitality businesses throughout the country and throughout the world. Their group and the people involved in their group are golf and hospitality professionals, and they have all together they've been involved with over 600 golf and hospitality events worldwide. This specific concept, they've opened in the Palisades Center Mall up there in Rockland. They have 3 that they're opening here in the city. This one is the one in Manhattan. They're also opening in Brooklyn, over in downtown Brooklyn, and they're opening one in Long Island City as well. So the Brookfield Place location, it's on the corner of West Street and Albany. In addition, there's the floor plan. So that's the first floor. It's you walk in. There's the bar, as you see. Most of the first floor is a kitchen and in the indoor golf simulators. If you go up to the second floor, there's dining for sit-down dining, additional golf simulators, and then of course there's the outdoor space, which we're going to talk about. Whether you're there to dine or whether you're there to do the golf simulation, the entire thing is what they call an escorted environment. So there's no sort of just meandering about the place. When you come in, you're met by a host. You're either there for the golf simulation. You don't have to do the golf simulation, but if you're not there for the golf simulation and you'd like to eat, then the host will bring you to a table where you can sit down, and there'll be a server who comes and takes your order for food. But it is casual dining. This is not it's not a high-end, white tablecloth restaurant by any stretch. They're looking for family friendly. What they do in their other locations, it's extremely family friendly, and that's what they're trying to do here. So to that end, we have recorded background music only, no DJ, no live music, no dancing, no bouncers, no promoted events. The hours of operation that we're looking for are midnight, 7 a.m. to midnight, Sunday to Thursday, 1 a.m. Friday and Saturday. And there's the terrace. We'd like that to close at midnight, 7 days a week. We're sure you'll have questions, and we are happy to answer them.
So, Max, my first thing, there are two things. One, terrace midnight is a problem because you are near residential living.
Well, we knew you'd want to. We knew you'd want to talk about it. We looked at your guidelines for Battery Park City, which says basically we'll talk about it. So we understand that you'd want to talk about it, and that we're putting out what we want.
Okay, that's one, and the other is you have delivery starting at 4 a.m. I don't know whether that was a mistake or that's very early, Max.
We have to do what we're in Brookfield Place. We have to do what Brookfield Place requires us to do.
They do for. I have no trouble if that's what they. And there's a loading dock or there's something. I mean, I don't know enough about it. I don't live there.
Well, I don't know the answer to the loading dock question, so let me turn it over to Matt or Ryan. One of you guys, could you please comment on how deliveries are going to be made and what Brookfield tells us to do regarding deliveries?
Yes, I'm gonna punt this to Matt. Yep. So, hello, everybody. So delivery service, there is a loading dock, and it's accessible early in the morning or late at night. The trash service is collected every night to a enclosed facility, and that service, I believe, is between 10:30 and 11 p.m. each night. So all of the trash is brought to a central location, which is managed by the building, and then dealt with and discarded by trucks from there.
Okay. Thank you. For me, it's the terrace and the hours of the terrace, and certainly the Sunday hours of the terrace, unless I'm always willing to give someone a shot on a Friday and a Saturday, but it is a residential area and I worry about the noise and everything else. So I don't know if you have a compromise you want to propose to us. And certainly not Sunday. I'm rigid about that.
Well, Susan, look, we obviously wanted, we were honest about what we wanted. We also are realistic, and we've been around this block before, so we know that we may not have gotten the 12, and so we wanted to hear what you and the rest of the committee have to say. Tell us what you want. We're going to be reasonable.
Can you orient us to the location of the terrace? I'm not sure where it is.
Yeah, so what you see right there in terms of where we are streetwise, so at the top of your screen would face West Street, and on the side of your screen is Albany.
I got you. So it's right across the street from me.
It's a second story, correct?
Correct, second floor, yep.
So I need to hear from my members. There any? That's a better picture.
The only thing that's different is we were told, we just recently found out we can't do the fire pit. So that's going to be
that is an old rendering, yes.
Yeah, so we're going to do more of the putting.
Any
is midnight? It's kind of late.
So what do you want to do? You want to do 10 o'clock?
Yeah. We've heard a pretty consistent theme of 10. Could we do midnight on Friday, Saturday, and then compromise to the 10 o'clock in the rest? I mean, it isn't our business model to be outside, but this is more of a hang space.
You're serving alcohol.
Proposing Sunday to Thursday till 10 on that outdoor space, and Friday and Saturday till midnight. Am I correct? Did I get you right?
That's what Ryan just said.
Yes.
And you're only having recorded music, am I correct?
Correct.
No, no buyouts, no big space events, nothing like that.
No buyouts.
Correct.
Anybody have any other comments or questions?
Susan, it's Megan. There are residential buildings around this terrace.
Yeah.
I'm more comfortable with 10 o'clock across the board. So we establish the noise levels if there are people living around.
I mean, they're across the street, but it's Gateway.
Well, I'm not familiar with the area. If those who are familiar don't think it's going to be heard, then I'm listening. But otherwise, I would think a roof deck, outdoor space next to residential buildings, we shouldn't go past 10 at the very latest.
Well, it's not quite roof. Correct me if I'm wrong, Max and company. It's really up on the second floor. Am I correct?
That's right. We've been calling it a terrace because it's on the second floor. We don't want to, we want to do right by everybody here. So, we don't want anyone to feel like they're taking an uncomfortable vote. If 10 across the board is what makes everybody comfortable, we're happy to do that.
Well,
But it
I'm
is
going to say let's do 10 across the board.
Yeah,
How's
we just did that with the other terrace that we,
Yeah, let's
came
do
in front
10
of us.
across the board,
Yeah.
Max.
That's fine. And, as we always say, you don't know them yet. You will. They'll establish a good track record. If, they may come back, but, we understand for starters that, we need to prove
We're
ourselves.
always open. You establish a track record, we're open. That's
Yep.
not an issue for us. Any other questions, concerns from my committee?
No.
Could somebody call the question and give me a second, please?
Question.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Any nays? Any recusals? Any abstentions? I'm taking that the rest are all in favor. Go to it, guys. Good luck.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks. Any chance you guys want to take my second application now? It's
No.
it's in Tribeca.
Now, I'm taking them in order tonight, Max.
Good luck, Max.
I promised I'd ask.
All right.
I'll be back.
All right. I know you will. All right. All of the other renewals, we haven't heard the yacht, the Cove, the Palm and Battery Park. Everything seems to be okay on the renewals. I haven't heard any problems. So let us go to, what do I have there?
239 West Broadway.
Yeah.
Rosa and Tina, I've moved you over. Do you have anyone else joining you tonight?
Good evening, Rosa Ruiz, representative for Chip and Tina. No, there's no one else with us this evening.
Okay, great. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is a transfer application of the existing Batard space. The address is 239 West Broadway, aka 4-6 White Street. Proposed hours of operation are 4 p.m. to midnight, Tuesday through Saturday, closed Sunday and Monday. Total occupancy is 74. Tables and chairs are, 18 tables, 58 seats, with 1 stand-up bar and 7 seats at the bar. There will be no outdoor dining.
No live music, correct?
No live music, background music only.
What's in
They're
this
open.
space now?
It's hard.
Okay.
What's
No
in
open
it?
doors.
I'm sorry?
No open doors, windows.
No open doors or windows.
Well, what's there not to like?
That's it. I think it's very reasonable.
Yes, very extremely experienced operators. She operated the Simone on the Upper East Side, and they were there for a very long time, and they're going to be a great addition to the neighborhood. You're really going to like the food.
I have a question for you. Why would you give up your weekends?
That would be a question for Tina. She's not giving up the weekends. That's what she's planning on closing at midnight.
Well, you said you're closed Sunday and Monday.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's reasonable. I don't have, I think Tuesday through Saturday. So you're closed Sunday and Monday.
Yes.
Okay, well,
If there are no other questions, read it. Could somebody call the question and somebody second for me, please?
Call the question.
second.
All right. Any recusals? Any abstentions? Any noes? Motion passes, Rosa. Good luck to them.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, give me 1
Walker
second.
Hotel, 396 Broadway.
Daniel. Do we have a Daniel on the call? No. Joseph. Oh, there you go. All right. Bruce. Susan. I'm assuming you all who had your hands up are for this item. And you can all unmute.
So
Rob.
I want to set the parameters here, please. So the board will ask any questions they want to ask. And then after the owners make their presentation short, and then I will call on you community members. I know there's a great deal of concern and I will call on you, but I want everybody to keep it reasonable, please, because I don't want to keep everybody here all night. So my question is, we do not like rooftops. I'm going to just preface this in Tribeca. It's a problem. It's a big problem. And you have a rooftop, you want 12 a.m. and 1 a.m., if I'm not mistaken. So that's a big concern of all of ours. You can tell us what you are and whatever else, but I just wanted to preface that so you understand that. Okay. Who's speaking for the owner? Bruce, Ariane, or are you community or are you?
Joe, I put
I'm
you over.
Bruce. I'm a resident.
Oh, no. Residents, not yet. Let me just have the ownership of the Walker Hotel present to us.
How you doing? My name is Joe.
And Joe.
How you doing? My name is Joe McClellan. I'm with Green Spoon Martyr. I'm an attorney representing the applicant. I have with me today Peter Young, the managing director, and Ati Jarawala, one of the principals. You have experienced operators who operate the Walker Hotel Tribeca and this rooftop. They also have 6 other licenses and hotels throughout New York without any issues. This rooftop, although we know you don't like it, rooftops in general has been operating for 2 summers now without complaint. They're merely asking for an extension of 1 hour to each day of the week. These, just as a note, the most expensive rooms of the hotel are right below this rooftop. So they don't want to disrupt those rooms, nor do they want to disrupt any of the neighborhood, but they do want to include this as an amenity to continue to stay in business. And these are the type of operators that the community should want. We have numerous letters from supporting businesses in support of the application, and I'm happy to hear your concerns and introduce the principals and the management team here, and they're willing to provide cell phones and to accommodate any issues that anyone has. As this is really a event-driven space, private corporate law firms and whatnot. So this is not a party place at all, and there has been no issues.
What's the maximum capacity on the roof?
It's currently, the C of O is currently for 74. It can fit more than that.
And your current hours are Sunday to Thursday till 11,
Yes, ma'am.
and Friday and Saturday till midnight. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any community members have any, not community, any board members have any questions or concerns?
Well, Susan, on the rooftop, they said so as of right now, there's permission to have, whether it's background music or other types of music or congregation on the rooftop till 11 o'clock?
I guess so. When he said they have operated for the last 2 summers.
That doesn't mean that it's I was just curious, is that is that a stipulation that they were allowed just because they've been doing it? I was just curious if they were like allowed to do it.
Great question.
Yes, our license allows us to operate those hours, and it's background music only. And
Okay,
nothing is changing with that request.
You're not changing that.
Nope. Continue background music. The only change, very narrow request, is 1 hour extension.
All right. If they're, Pat, go on, and then I want to hear, I think there are a lot of community people out there.
Because if they took the time to come out, there must be an issue.
Okay, so let's go to it. Onej, you know who the community people are who want to speak?
Yes. Susan, you may go first. You can unmute.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Kachoyan. I live directly across from the rooftop bar. And I feel it's, I cannot get over the fact that you have limited other outdoor spaces till 10 a.m. and this rooftop bar wants to has the ability to go later than that. I would actually like to roll their hours back so that it matches the stipulations that you put on the other outdoor spaces today. Plus, I've filed complaints over the years. I do have the complaint numbers, and I have been in touch with the community board and filed complaints about, we can hear their music. The patrons get very loud and boisterous, and they don't seem to be able to control the sound. Everything is outdoors. There are no doors that anyone can close. It is not enclosed at all. We have families and elderly people in our building that need to get rest, and this has disturbed them for however long this rooftop bar has been open. And they also seem to have gone and gotten the music, the allowance for the music just last summer. And we had to have connections with the police department to actually go and ask them to turn the music down because they never responded to our phone calls and requests. So that's all I have to say. I wish the community board would actually roll back the hours to match the other outdoor spaces in the downtown community. Thank you.
Do they stop operating exactly at 11 o'clock, or do they go past 11 o'clock?
Well, I occasionally they have gone past 11 o'clock, but I mean, I'm not going to split hairs here. But to have them go beyond,
we got it.
They're already allowed is unconscionable, and they are not good neighbors in a nutshell.
Okay.
And
thank you.
Do you have contact with them? Do you have a number for someone who works there?
No, we just called the management, and they also have said last year that the bar is operated by a completely separate entity, and they would take our complaint, and nothing was ever done.
So that's an issue.
Susan, do you have a record of the complaints
Yes, I
community
do.
board?
Yes, I do. I have a couple of complaints. And then after a couple of times, I stopped complaining. My husband complained. My husband actually wrote a letter to Lucian Reynolds, and Lucian immediately responded and put him in touch with a police officer who went across the street and had them. This was a noise complaint because they were playing music late into the night. And it was not background music. We could hear it very clearly in our apartment. And I felt that the music was in my apartment. So they never responded directly to us. We had to have the authorities go over there. And the police officer was very effective in getting them to maintain the sound level so that we could not hear it as well. We could still hear it, but we could not hear it as loudly in our
We
apartment.
got it. All right. Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you.
No matter
Onez,
what the
Onez,
outcome
do
is.
you have copies? Wait, Onez, do you have copies of the complaints from the community board?
Wait, Pat, I can't hear you.
We have copies of the complaints?
That no matter what the outcome is, that Joe provide a phone number for the residents to be able to contact someone in real time, not the day after, but in real time, to say it is too loud, it's too noisy, it's too whatever, and that some action be taken in real time. We shouldn't have to
I
call
agree. But Joe, no, that's fine.
To answer your question, Joel, yes, the complaints that have come in have been provided and were included with the packet that I sent an email to all of you in the committee.
Yeah, this was all written out. We've seen the complaints. I'm very glad some of the committee members have come. Let me call on Sagar.
Sagar, you can unmute. Go ahead.
Can you hear me? Yep.
Yes.
So I live right below Suzanne, and I've got to say that while the management is kind, they're not necessarily being straightforward here. That they haven't operated without complaints, and frankly, the sound of the music is as if it's in your apartment. As it relates to kind of, oh, it's only law firms who are taking this space. That's not true either. There are fashion night parties there. And frankly, the amount of photography that happens up there feels like a strobe light is in your apartment. So it's not just the sound, and it's not just law firms. You know, I have a 2-year-old son, and you know, he goes to sleep at 7 p.m. So while I'd love the hours to be restricted to 7 p.m., I recognize that that's not, you know, actionable. But extending the hours seems a bit too far. I also understand from the first time that they submitted for this application that the community board did not support the granting of a liquor license, and they went directly to the state liquor board for it. And you know, in the original stipulations or in the original meeting minutes, they spoke about, you know, non-operable windows, background music, etc. And you know, I can attest firsthand, the windows are operable, and people sit outside of the windows on the Broadway side. The foliage is not as pictured here. The rooftop terrace does not block sound. And finally, you know, not to reiterate, but it isn't just background music. I mean, we can hear the drink shakers shaking as they make martinis. So you know, really appreciate the community board's focus here. I've seen the level of concern folks have shared about things that are a block and a half away from them. I would hope that same level of concern is shared when we're talking about something I can throw a baseball at.
Thank you, Sagar. Louise? I have one question, Louise, if you won't mind, because I am very curious. You I'm trying to think of who the principal is, who was speaking, the attorney. When did you get this license?
This was in the summer of 2021.
And did you, I can't remember, so I'm asking, did we reject your license or did we put stipulations in?
I
Did you go, did you not come to the community board? I'm very curious.
Just for clarification, I wasn't representing the applicant at the original. My understanding is they did come to the community board. The community was unwilling to negotiate with the operators, and we sought approval from the state liquor authorities as there was no establishments within 500 feet.
Thank you, Joe.
Susan, can I just say one thing? It's funny the way the lawyer puts it. The community board was not willing to negotiate with the operators. I would put it the other way around.
Well, I think that's correct. And I think that what I would like to do, I'm not, is to get a copy of our resolution, Onej, if we had something, because it's unlikely that we would not have put something in and what we had asked for. So you may be correct that that's what we put in for the hours, Joe, but somehow I think that there's something disingenuous going on here in terms of what was talked to us about, what was the how the roof deck, how that roof spot was dealt with. So I have one before. I want to give Joan and Ariane each a chance to speak. Joan, do you want to speak? You have to unmute yourself.
Did Louis go?
No, I didn't say anything, but I'm here to speak if
Louise, you are, I'm sorry, thank you.
No, that's okay. No problem
Go
at all.
right ahead. Go right ahead.
I just wanted to add to what my fellow residents at 395 have said, in that I think it would also be useful to understand that, you know, that from which we haven't seen in the photographs provided by Walker Street, that the main part of the bar, and let's also understand that it's on 2 levels because there's a raised section, there's a small stairway up to an upper terrace as well, that all does face west. You know, the very narrow, the sort of, you know, the narrow section that we were shown images of doesn't really represent, you know, the major social space of the bar. It's an attractive place. From my observations, I'm on the 14th floor, 14A at 395, so I get a very, very good view of the bar at all times of day and evening. It can be very full, and it's very, you know, it's a happening place. I've never seen, I mean, as Sagar said, I mean, it's definitely appealing to a younger crowd, and as I think the Walker Hotel itself does. I quite often go to the coffee shop on the ground floor of the Walker Hotel, and I mean, it's a growing concern, and you know, it appears to me to be very much a youth culture, and I would also agree that this is not my idea of background music. I mean, as the evenings go on, you know, and the noise level rises as everybody is having a good time, you know, we all know that music has to be pumped up in order to, you know, in order to create that balance, you know, with the sort of good time balance. So I think that's really something to be kept in mind.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Louise. Joan? Are you here?
You can unmute. You can unmute.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Hi, sorry. I don't have much more to add than what my fellow residents have stated. I live underneath Sagar. I'm 9A. And I concur with everything that everyone has said thus far. I want to point out that one of the benefits of the A-line apartment is that we have 5 windows facing Broadway, 5 huge windows facing Broadway. And on those summer nights when you don't want to have air conditioning, you want to be able to keep your windows open. And the noise level when your windows are open is absolutely intolerable. And I have 2 tremendous air conditioners that I run when it is hot, and I can hear the music even over those tremendous air conditioners.
Okay.
So it really is a quality of life issue, and all of us have loved living in this building, and we all respect each other's privacy and each other's space. And I feel like my space has been invaded by this addition of this rooftop bar with very boisterous, young, drunk people carrying on until late in the evening, and pushing this beyond what it already is, I think would make this situation even more intolerable and really affect our quality of life and our real estate, honestly.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Ariane?
Susan, oh, I'm sorry, I'll wait.
Yeah, just wait. And Joe, let me just go through this. I will. Ariane? You could unmute yourself, I think.
Ariane, you may unmute.
Thank you all. I'll keep it really brief because I feel like you've heard enough, but I just want to second everyone's commentary here and agree that, pushing it another hour for me is, whilst it might sound not drastic to some, I'm concerned that, next year it's another hour and then it's another hour and it's a, endless knock-on effect where it comes across like a short extension, but truth is there's a lot of residents in the area and we can all hear the sound, we can all hear the music, and it's the spillover onto the streets after hours as well. So I really appreciate everyone taking that into account on this vote. And just whilst I may, and I know this isn't the time for it, but I do want to flag and ask the question of how one can, raise with the board the issue of this studio at 393 Broadway, which has become an event venue, which is kind of disguising itself as a nightly nightclub. It's gotten to the point where it's very hard for us to, as residents, to go in and out of the building, just because of the crowd spilling out onto the street every single night. I know this isn't the time for that, but I just wanted to flag it and appreciate any direction anyone can give us on that.
Thank you. All right, Joe, you've got 2 minutes because I can't go on and on with this.
Sure, I'll wrap this up. And just to address, there wasn't anything disingenuous, and to our knowledge and the principal and management's knowledge, there has been no complaints. Any complaint or concerns were addressed, and actually even I have emails from Sagar Bhatt that were very complimentary of Peter and team speaking with, and they've always made themselves available. Some of there is no spillover. This is a high-end hotel. They have hotel security, and this venue is not as what it's being purported by a few individuals.
Okay.
So, Susan, can I?
Additionally, I want to be a good neighbor as well, and I echo what Joe said, and respect to all the neighbors as we are part of the neighborhood. But I've been the general manager here for 3 years now, and I have not received any personal complaints myself from any of our neighbors. So I would like to extend if it makes any difference, my personal cell phone number.
Well, Pat would ask for that. We will take it, Peter. This is what I'm going to do, because I think there is a real problem here, and I think we would be. We're not going to give you the extended hours. Just not. It's not going to happen. And I'm sure. I think I speak for the committee. We will take a vote. You have not, it appears to me you have not been good neighbors. And I'm very disturbed by it all. Usually our, community people are pretty open. And if you listen to us on the meetings, there's something wrong here. And I think if you better try to mend some fences. That bar appears to me to be offensive, and I will look over what we stated in our last resolution. But I am going to propose that since you were only asking for the 2 hours, that we not give it to you, and that you figure out how to become better neighbors and listen around the music and the controlling your population. I am going to I'm going to call the question, and I would like a second.
Second.
Before you do,
And you want to say something, Pat?
yeah, because I'm not sure why this didn't come before quality of life. When our agreement was that, you know, the initial licenses would be granted in licensing committee, and then if there was a problem, it would go to quality of life. So as the chair of quality of life committee, I have a real problem with this. First of all, I'd like all of the residents that are still online, if you please call 311 and complain. I don't care if you do it 100 times, and send Lucian all of your complaint numbers, because now Peter is saying he has not received any complaints, and he has a personal letter saying that everything is all fine. So if it isn't fine, then I need the residents to continue to call 311 and file these complaint numbers. That's number one. Number two, Peter, we do want first of all, I thought I heard along the line that the bar was run by a separate operator and not by the hotel. Is that true?
That was true, yes.
So they're not passing the complaints along to Peter.
Yeah, so hold on a second, Mitch. So
Okay.
Peter, if it's run by a separate operator, why are they not here tonight? Why are they not represented?
We are taking over the operations to make it better.
Okay, so when are you taking over the operation?
We are taking over the operations this summer,
What month? When exactly?
April.
Okay, so the
That's now.
residents, you hear, as of April, Peter's organization is taking over the operations. We expect to see huge improvements. Peter, please give us your number. Now, I want a number that the residents can reach in real time, not that you go home at 6 o'clock and the noise is until 11 and they can't get a hold of anybody.
I understand, real time.
Okay,
So can you give-
I have some people we didn't call on, and I want to give them a chance. 2 minutes each, please, because I've got to move this along. And I haven't changed my opinion. Rob Semino.
Rob, you can unmute.
Thank you, Susan, and I appreciate you letting us speak. I also live at 395 Broadway. I think it's becoming clear to this committee that this application is disingenuous. To open this saying there have been no complaints, when all you have to do is search 311 for their address, and you will see there have been multiple noise complaints. And to say that there have been none is just disingenuous. You know, the impact this has on our neighbors. Suddenly now we're hearing that the owner is going to take over this summer. And when you say when, he says April. That's convenient. This is April, so they're running it now. I'm sorry, it just doesn't wash. And I would ask this committee to see through this. And it sounds like you're on a track to deny it. I believe that's what you should do.
Thank you. Bruce Rothenbart.
Yes, I have personally filed several complaints with 311 and the Liquor Authority, so that's just not true. And every time I've tried to make contact with the bar, I feel like I've been lied to. I was told that it is a separate operation and we have nothing to do with them and there's nothing we can do about the noise. I'm sorry. And I asked for a name to contact, and they gave me somebody's name and they only gave me an email address. I sent an email and I never heard anything back. So my contacts with the bar have not been great. And that's why I was, out of frustration, approached the community board and Lucian, and he connected me with the police officer. who did take care of quite a bit of the problem, but I'm astounded that this bar ever got a liquor license. It's right directly across the street from a residential building that's been there since the early 80s. And I think it should be looked into as to how they ever got a liquor license for a rooftop bar in that space. And
All right.
thank you, Susan.
Thank you, Bruce.
Community Board.
All right, so I'm going to propose, if everybody, so we can get through this, and Peter and Mitch can, unless it's something so urgent.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you a question before you make about a possible proposal. So, considering that this is a new management taking over the operation, and obviously we're not going to vote for increasing the hours, what about what Sarah first said is voting to put it to 10 o'clock and they come back in 6 months, since it's like new owners taking over the current operation?
Well, it's not new owners. I'm very confused, and the
Okay.
SLA will not allow us to do that.
Then I'll leave it. Okay.
They will
Sorry to
at this
interrupt.
moment. No, that's okay, but I can't backtrack.
Okay.
I'm
I put my hand down.
appalled by it all at this moment.
Okay.
So I'm going to propose that everything
Susan,
stay, wait.
Phone number from Peter. I don't
What?
want this to end without getting a phone number. We need a phone number.
Well, he can send it through the chat or whatever to Onesh, and she can let us know. I think it's on the application.
I will send it.
All right, good. So what I'm going to propose is that we do not approve the extended hours, because that's all they were asking, and that we include the concerns and the disregard for the community's concerns, and that we discuss within our resolution the whole idea of the music and the sound and a variety of things. But that's my proposition, that we not extend the hours.
Susan, I think as an addendum, I would
Yeah.
also add all the 311 complaints, every single complaint that was logged, including the first precinct. I would put that all in there, so when they go behind our back again to the SLA, they will have all the addendums of all the 311 calls that they say they never got. So I would put as much background information as you can in there as to why we made this decision.
Okay, point well taken. And I have one question that I want to understand from Peter or Joe. Is this a 12-month a year rooftop environment, or do you run it from April to October? Do you run it in November? What is this, since it's not enclosed?
May until the end of October. That is correct.
Okay, we'll put that in the resolution as well. We'll see what happens. All right, so I don't want to take any, what?
Just put in that they also say
I
that
got
they are
it.
not.
Yeah. Come on, who are you talking to, kiddo? You.
So you mean to tell me they don't have any weddings in November, December, where people are going to go out into the balcony?
Well, they said they don't have any large venue, and I can't remember how many can be up there, but
They said 74 people. and it could be-
74. That's not large venue. It's
No. They said 74, but it can accommodate a lot more.
Yeah, listen, they also do they operate it year round if possible, if there's an event that comes up, but obviously weather permitting, when it's snowing and raining and
All right.
cold in the
Thank
winter.
you for being straight with us. All right. So we will write the resolution. I have a second. I had to call the question. Any noes? Any recusals? Any abstentions? The motion carries. We will write it up. You will get the resolution. And I hope if you're taking over, since you claim you are, that you become better neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
This one.
I thought Rosa was on this one. Oh, there you are.
Warren Street?
Rosa, and is Martina on the call?
No, it's just me this evening.
Okay. Go ahead.
All right, Rosa, let's hope you're easy because you can tell we're getting pissier by the minute. Or I am at least, pardon me.
No, that's all right. So, okay, so the corporate name is Carpincho LLC, and I do
Yeah.
apologize to her, even though she's not here if I'm not saying it correctly. 73 Warren Street, New York, New York. This is for beer, wine, and cider only, not full liquor. Hours of operation are 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week. Occupancy is 74. The premises will be operated as a cafe, restaurant, farm to table menu. They will have outdoor dining with the New York City Department of Transportation program. And they currently have another location located over at 1165 Broadway in Manhattan. Same concept. That's it.
Can we see the outdoor space?
Yeah.
Sure. It was included.
Yeah, I know. I just.
I know. I'm trying to get to that page too. 1 second.
The cellar. Is it this? The sidewalk seating?
I can't see that. That's too small. I'm sorry. My eyesight's not that great.
Is that what it is? It's 4
Warren
tables,
Street?
2 tables,
Yes.
2 chairs.
Yes. Yes. That's all it is. Small.
Where is it going to be? Show me the picture of it, Onesh, please, again. The actual photo of the area where those tables and chairs are going to sit.
It's going to be on the Warren Street side.
There. Is that the Warren Street side? Rosa?
I'm not sure. Hold on.
Well, if that's the Warren Street side, it's going to be sitting in the front door or on the way to the basement. So I just don't
No, so then
understand.
it will be in front of the door. It's not, not above the basement.
I don't know. I think the street isn't big enough, but somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. It looks very.
Let me see. I'm checking to see if there's another photo that I didn't include, perhaps. No. Nope.
No, that's the only photo.
Do you know where it is on the floor plan?
Yeah, let me go back up to that page. Hold on. Because now I'm at the photographs.
Can't figure it out. That's why I'm asking. I'm totally fatoutzed here.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Should be the ground floor.
It's the ground. It's the ground floor, and it's gonna be in front, not above. Directly in front of the restaurant, not closer to the. Not closer to the curb or anything like that. It's gonna be put up against the doors.
Karen, what do you have to say?
Well, this is a residential spot. I'm not sure 11 for the outside spot is the right time. I think that should be earlier.
No, the outside would be closed earlier. It's the inside that would be closing at 11.
Right. So what time does the outside close, please?
She'll most likely do like 9 o'clock during the week and probably 10 on the weekends.
Okay.
Any other questions? Anybody? Can we have call the question? And
Call
a
the
second?
question.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Any no's, recusals, abstentions? All right, Rosa. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're gonna
Have a good
put
night,
all
everyone.
this stuff in the resolution. Hi, Maria.
Okay,
It's
perfect.
nice to see your face. Okay. Hotel Barriere or whatever it's called, Barriere.
Barrier.
Barry Day.
Do you have anyone with you, Max?
I
Is
do.
Josh here?
I have Adam Klein, who should be raising his hand right now, although he tells me his name might be displaying as Tara for some reason.
Okay.
You see him?
Yep.
Okay, great. So while you're promoting him, hello again, everybody. I'm still Max Bookman, still an attorney. My law firm is Pazetsky and Bookman, and it's nice to see you all once again. With me is Adam Klein. He is the vice president of Hotel Barrier, Les Fauquets, here on 456 Greenwich. He's the vice president involved with all operations, so we thought it would be good to bring him. So a little background, this is the 5-star hotel on Greenwich and DeBrassus and Washington Street. It's been open since October. It's been, it's well respected in the time that it's been open. It's been noted for its architecture that's really in keeping with the neighborhood. It's not out of place. Their restaurant is low key and not impactful to the neighborhood. There's no club in this hotel. There's no real nightlife sort of operation. It's a high-end hotel. The average room rate is $1,250 per night, and it goes up from there. As far as we're aware, they've not had an objectionable operation. So they came to you originally in late 2021, and that was after community outreach that had been going on, going back to as early as 2020. They did a lot of community outreach. When we were before you, we had a detailed conversation about the method of operation. This was one of those applications that went on for like an hour. There was a lot of discussion about the roof. The roof was a real desire of ours. I represented them then. The roof was a real desire of ours, and a number of committee members, a number of you who are still on this committee, most of you, many of you were in favor of the roof. There was a lot of, based on the stipulations that we were offering at the time. And it was really sort of at the last minute when Susan was putting together the question, there was everybody sort of tiptoed away from it, and there was an agreement to have no rooftop for 6 months. And so our stipulation said that we would be back in 6 months. And so that was a real loss for us, but we took it. We didn't try to challenge you with the SLA. We took the steps. The steps, by the way, were not just about the roof. They covered the restaurant, the cafe, all sorts of aspects of the operation. The steps set up a working group. So this is more than just a phone number, Pat. This is a working group that meets on a regular basis as a forum to address any issues. And that working group does frequently meet still now. We stepped to following the sound study, to following the traffic study. So why are we here today? We're not here to disturb any of those other stipulations, and therefore I don't think we need to rehash, any of the major details of this hotel. We're here for two very specific reasons. Number one is, as we said we would, it's been 6 months, and we're back to discuss the rooftop. We'd like to agree to stipulations with you on the rooftop. And number two, we want to have a sidewalk cafe under the current only program in town, which is the DOT Open Restaurants program. Sidewalk cafe was part of our original proposal. We dropped it in outreach with the community back in 21 with an understanding that we'd be back. On the rooftop, we've always called it a rooftop, but really it's a terrace on the 8th floor of the building. The 8th floor is the top floor, but it's a floor. It's an indoor floor. There's indoor portions of that floor, including containing the most expensive suite in the whole hotel is on that floor. Also on that floor is a terrace, and it's a big terrace, and that's the rooftop that we've been talking about. So what our proposal is for, and you see it up there, Onej has it up there right now. It's 10 p.m. on weeknights, 11 p.m. on weekends. This is a small passive use. You see right there, 65 seats maximum. There's no customer bar out there. The food is brought up from downstairs. Nothing's being cooked out there. No music. Limited access. You can't just walk off the street and go up to this roof. We're going to follow the sound study that we said we'd follow back in 2021 when we thought we'd be getting this rooftop then. So pretty limited. Sidewalk cafe, 42 seats. It's under the DOT program, no roadway dining, just regular old sidewalk cafe. And we're also proposing the same hours, 10 p.m. and 11. We've discussed all of this with the working group over the course of several meetings. The working group, is not a vote, a decision-making body. So there was no vote to be taken, but the folks from the neighborhood who've always had an interest in the operation of this hotel have been part of the working group. I can't tell you that we have 100% consensus on this proposal, and you may hear from some folks tonight, but we do think this is a reasonable proposal, and we do think that there's a lot of people who also think it's reasonable. So with that, we're happy to answer any questions. Oh, that wasn't so bad.
Any questions from my committee? Any concerns?
Yeah.
Before you hear from me, but
There was one letter that I read that was included in the information that Onej sent. I don't know if anybody else read it. A resident, against expanding the hours, but I don't. Did you see it?
I think I did. But you
It's
can comment.
It's right before 456. Yeah, it's from said one of the Roger Perlmutter.
Okay, you want to let us know?
Well, I'm not going to read the whole. It's about 3-4 paragraphs.
Okay, just give us the gist, Mitch.
Okay.
Okay, it's not there.
He lives at 456 Greenwich.
Is he for or against?
He's against it of expanding the hours. School days and the whole thing. He's against anything on outdoors after 8 o'clock on weekdays and 9 o'clock on the weekends. And the sidewalk cafe is even, I'm just reading verbatim, is even more problematic, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
I recommend, I hope our community ensuring that neither the sidewalk cafe nor the rooftop bar be permitted to operate before 1 year has passed. And that's the gist of the thing. And,
Okay.
and like I said, I don't know anything else about it, but I'm just reading this.
Thanks, Mitch. Thank you.
Not a rooftop bar.
Okay, one thing, Max, you're very good at what you do, but I don't care if a building is 2 floors, then the second floor is on top of the second floor is the rooftop. So just because it's the 8th floor and not the 45th floor, it's still a rooftop.
No,
I mean,
I appreciate that.
and I
Mitch,
respect what you do, but please don't spin it that much, okay?
No, listen, I appreciate you, and there's no disrespect. I just want to listen. There are rooftops, and then there are rooftops. There are some rooftops where it's literally, all there is outdoors. I
Max,
just wanted to be clear that there's,
Very quickly, did you say no music whatsoever?
no music.
Is either of these things functioning at this point, even in a limited
No, there's
way?
no sidewalk cafe, right? No sidewalk cafe, and the rooftop's there. We made it part of the liquor license, but we can't use it because we stipulated to that with you, and that we'd come back in 6 months.
When did you open?
October.
Max, the application has music.
Sorry.
There it says, Max, music. DJ.
No. Hold on. This is for the entire. What you're looking at is for the entire premises. We already last time around stipulated to all those things for the other parts of the premises. We're not looking to rehash that. You already approved that. All I'm talking about. You asked a question about the rooftop, so I answered you.
Okay. No music on the roof.
And I'm sorry, and I misspoke. I was corrected. No music in the sidewalk cafe. They have installed small background speakers on the rooftop, and that was part of the sound study as well. My apologies.
Yeah. Thank you, Anish. All right. I think I have someone, Mark, you want to say something, and then I have someone from the community who I named Tara. Is that correct?
No, Tara is Adam. That's my client.
Okay. No. Mark, you want to say something?
Yeah. So this area is North Tribeca. It's a very quiet area. There's a progression of bars opening, and it's just adding on and on and on to what was once just absolutely quiet neighborhood. That's why people moved there. The people were there before this hotel was there. So just to add more particularly rooftop terrace, whatever you want to call it, sidewalk cafes, this and that. It just diminishes the quality of life and the charm of North Tribeca, and I would certainly oppose it.
Okay. So to my committee, I, you know how I feel about all of this. I would rather change the hours and make them, try to exceed with what we've done before, and limit certain things, then I always worry if we totally reject it. I'm very concerned, though, about Tribeca. And there's no doubt in my mind that this is not what people bargained for, nor are the sidewalk cafes, but the sidewalk cafes are allowed by a lot of things now that we don't agree with. So I need a little feedback from some of the members of my committee who are still here before, and I have a whole group from the community. All right, since my committee is quiet at the moment, let's try Joan Kress. Would you like to speak? Joan?
Joan, you can unmute. Go ahead.
Mark, thank you for your comments. I hope that all of you received the letter that I wrote in addition to the one that Roger Perlmutter wrote, because I did spend quite a bit of time putting my thoughts down on paper. Susan, to you especially. I'm a longtime resident at the 135 Watt Street, which is directly north of the hotel, and I'm also a member of the hotel's working group. And I would say that I think that most of the resident members of the working group had a lot of problems with many aspects of this application. I love the CB1 guidelines, and I would encourage you to follow them. They were thoughtfully created to protect the quality of life of the residents of Tribeca. Specifically, I'd like the hotel to wait for 1 full year to apply for either a rooftop bar or a sidewalk cafe. And specifically for the sidewalk cafe, it's in the stipulations. The hotel signed off on the stipulations that said that they would wait for 1 full year, but they're not doing that. To date, the hotel has only been at a 20 to 30% occupancy, according to Adam, and the hotel has not been open during the summer months. In our loft, our bedroom is directly overlooking the Courtyard Cafe, which is the one outdoor venue that the hotel currently has. And I would really like to experience that venue when the hotel is at fuller capacity and during the summer months when the glass retractable roof is open during warm weather before considering 2 additional open air venues. If you decide to approve either or both of these venues, I would ask that the closing hours follow the guidelines, your guidelines for open window side street venues, 8 p.m. weekdays, 9 p.m. weekends. And just, I've been concerned about the working group and about a certain disingenuous quality on the side of hotel representatives. As an example of that, Matt Vigiano, the leader of that working group, claimed that neither the sidewalk cafe nor the rooftop bar would be subject to open window conditions because they had no windows. Whereas clearly the intent of the CB1 is that means open air, as these places clearly would be. Many of us in the neighborhood are concerned about noise, and therefore I think many of us are adamantly opposed to a rooftop bar. North Tribeca, as Mark said, is a historically very quiet residential neighborhood, and it's been transformed of late by late night music and drunken revelry on the sidewalks. As we just heard from the discussion of the Walker Hotel tonight, it's very difficult to roll back approvals and closing times once they've been granted. You don't go backwards with this. The hotel has expressed the laudable desire in the working group meetings to be a good neighbor, but in the past, this has not been the case. Their construction resulted in significant and irredeemable damage to our landmark building and many other buildings in the immediate vicinity. The hotel did not behave as a good neighbor at that time. They initially refused to take responsibility for the damage and ultimately made financial settlements that were grossly inadequate to compensate for the repair costs. So because of that, many of us in the neighborhood are pretty wary of their good intentions here.
Okay.
So I
Joan,
would
I'm
encourage you, follow your guidelines.
Okay, thank you. Jonathan Bernstein?
Can you hear me or no?
Yes, we can.
Okay, Susan, thank you. And members of the committee, thank you. So, look, the venue, it's a behemoth, and it really has the capacity to make a very substantial change in the neighborhood. So I think what's most important is that we ask that as these changes happen over time, we want this to be staged, and we want this to roll out over as long a period of time as is practical. These guys invested a lot of money in this hotel. They're going to be here for a very long time. We're going to be here for a very long time. The residences in my building have turned over 3 times since the building went co-op 45 years ago. Only 3 units have sold. These people have been here for a very long time. So if they've made this big investment of money and they're going to be here for a long time, work with us and roll this out over a long period of time. The total occupancy for the rooftop is 115 people. And as Max said, 115 people on an 8th-story rooftop has the potential to make a very significant impact in this neighborhood. And as Max said, this is the most expensive suite in the hotel that's part of this rooftop. So that guy who's spending $55,000 for a night, go tell him to turn down his music or to make some of his guests leave. I think that there is just, with 115 person occupancy, a lot of potential for problems. So in terms of the rooftop venue, we would really ask for the community board to stick to the guidelines, wait until the hotel has been operating for a year before it permits the application for a rooftop. The hotel has been operating for a few months, but it's only been operating at limited capacity. The hotel hasn't been filled with guests. Not all the venues have been open for the entire time. Also, I want to just point out with respect to the sidewalk, I believe Max had mentioned 42 seats in the sidewalk venue.
45, yeah.
5, okay. I had discussed this, a number of us discussed this with Adam the other day, and I believe that Adam did commit to, and Adam, of course, correct me if I'm misrepresenting, but did commit to reducing that number to 24 for the sidewalk cafe. And our perspective is let's start with 24. And if everything works out well in the neighborhood, come back again in a year or 2 years and increase it. And then be good neighbors, and then ask to increase the hours, and then ask to expand the venues. But operate first. And with one last point, Susan, it's just that I just want to make sure, the community board, it has guidelines. And I participated in the working group to look out for the interests of the neighborhood, thinking that we might need additional guardrails above and beyond what the guidelines call for. And I want to make sure that my name as part of this working group isn't used to justify more permissive than what the community board would otherwise grant in the guidelines. That's not my purpose for participating. So,
all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll get to respond at the right time.
No,
Susan.
at the end, at the right time.
At the right time, yeah.
I'm going to call on Jonathan and Mary, and then I'm going to, that's my last 2, and then I'm going to say something, and then Max can say something. Go to it. Jonathan, didn't you speak before? Yeah, all right, Mary. Mary Veller. You could unmute yourself. Yes, go, Mary, please.
I live at 463 Greenwich Street, directly across from the hotel, and have lived here since, the early 2000s. And I've seen the neighborhood. I've also attended working group meetings, and I echo the sentiments of the other residents who have spoken completely. The working group meetings were not particularly productive. And I feel that we reached a little bit of an impasse because the hotel obviously has interests that may not be in the best interests of the neighborhood, which we've been seeing change very rapidly with the proliferation of bars and sheds and outdoor seating and Tribeca rooftops and Arlo rooftops. And, you know, the two places within a 1 block radius, we have 6 open air bar situations. I also sent a letter to you, Susan, via Lucian, which I hope you saw.
I read it.
Okay. So a couple of things I wanted to clarify so I'm not reiterating what's already been spoken. The rooftop situation is the presidential suite, but it's also a second level bar above that. And you can say it's not a rooftop bar, but they're going to be serving alcohol and there's a bar structure there and there's music. I don't know what else constitutes a rooftop bar, if not that. I just want the community board to keep in mind as more and more of these these buildings and bars come before you, that Northern Tribeca is undergoing a tremendous change, and you really must be sensitive to the quality of life and how that's being affected here. Very, very noisy, rowdy, drunken people on the streets. I would, in short, ask you to follow the guidelines, roll this hotel situation out according to the very carefully considered community board guidelines, stage it so that we can, as Jonathan very articulately stated, watch and see the impact of the neighborhood in the context of the rest of the establishments that are going here, and come back in a year.
Thank you, Mary. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Jean, before I'm going to let you speak before Max, and then I'll let Max speak.
As I listen to my neighbors, I've come to realize that these hotels that are going up are not so much counting on people coming in and getting a good night's sleep. They really seem to be focusing more on entertaining people and making money that way, and that really concerns me. Years ago, when we started the first sidewalk cafe working group and the rooftop working group, we just outlawed anything on the roof because what we needed to keep people safely in their homes was surrounding these hotels were residential. We worked 7 years for the Duane Street Hotel, and we were able to do everything on Duane Street, nothing on the roof, and everything shuts down at a very early hour. I think the neighbors really have something going there in terms of an 8 o'clock and a 9 o'clock hour, and also going back to the 1 year trial, especially if the hotel is as vacant as it appears. I mean, they don't have enough people to really warrant what they're asking, and I would discourage having to rely on making money from bars. I like the notion of that glass rooftop as really window and having to not use them for music of any kind, because we all know that noise travels. There should be no music on any roof whatsoever.
All right. Thanks. I think I have one more person from the community, and that's it, because I can't go on and on with this. Jessica, are you from the community? Jessica?
Jessica, we can't hear you.
All right. We can't hear you, Jessica, so I'm going to have to stop it because I think I get the gist. And I'm going to let Max speak. Max, make it quick. we've got to finish this off.
Sure. I just want to thank Susan. I just want to make a few quick points. Okay. Number one is, and this echoes what you've previously said, Susan, is the idea of being reasonable and coming up with compromise. We all know that's what the State Liquor Authority wants. We all know that that's what this committee strives for. That's what we want. The STIPs that we agreed to with you in 2021 were replete with compromises. We didn't go off and try to get you overruled by the State Liquor Authority. We compromised, and so and that continues to today. The proposal that we're putting forth now in terms of hours of operation. I know we haven't earned the support of every person who has spoken tonight. There's a lot of people who haven't spoken tonight, but we have those incorporated their feedback, and we continue to be reasonable. If there are limitations that make this committee more comfortable and feel are responsive to some of the concerns that have been raised tonight, we're open to them. We're not, we want to agree to something with you. We don't want to go fight you at the State Liquor Authority. So that's number one. So things like, the Sidewalk Cafe being pared back. Yes, Adam did say that at the working group meeting in hopes of earning support. We didn't get support, so that's why we went forth with the 40-something figure. But we can pare back the Sidewalk Cafe. We could agree to start the Sidewalk Cafe a little bit later this year if you don't want us to start it right away. We can even talk about paring back, hours of operation on the rooftop by an hour if that shows our good faith. So we're here to be reasonable. That's number one. Number two is I just want to reiterate that this rooftop, which is not a rooftop bar, is not something that you can come off of. There's no customer bars. You can't walk up and get a drink there. It's service, waiter service. This is not something that you can come off of the street and go to. It is designed for and primarily for the benefit of hotel guests. I understand what the legal occupancy is, but that doesn't take into account all of the plantings and the foliage and everything else that we're putting in. So that's why we told you that the number of seats would be 60. Whatever we said there, 65.
65, you said.
We could limit it to a 74 occupancy and commit to that, which is much smaller than what you heard. But that's the point, is that it's not a public rooftop where anybody, and we could stip to that, where anybody can just come off the street and go up there. This is really for the benefit of the hotel and the hotel guest. And last point, I agree, this is my last one. There's been a lot of talk about following the guidelines and things like that. We have stipulations. The stipulation said that we can come back after 6 months to talk about extending hours of operation. So that's what we're doing. We all know that the guidelines are guidelines, but they're not law, and the stipulations are what bind. And really, the major touchstone here at the end of the day is reasonableness, and that's what we're trying to do.
Okay. Thank you, Max. So I am going to ask Pat and Mariama and Mark before I have my own thoughts on this, if they have any thoughts or suggestions on how we should proceed. Those are the three I'm calling on.
Are there any renderings of the Sidewalk Cafe?
Mark, we have floor plans. It's a regular Sidewalk Cafe. No structure. We're not building a hut.
So how can we even vote on anything that we're not even seeing any renderings or number of tables? Location
No. We gave you floor plans. You don't require renderings. We gave you floor plans, and it's regular Sidewalk Cafe floor plans, and those can be shown on the screen.
Where are they?
Onej, will you show them to Mark and all of us, please? Pat, Mariama.
Next slide.
Can we blow that up?
Oh, sorry, I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mariama, you unmute if that was you.
If they're agreeing to do a slow rollout, like as the residents have asked, then that's good. They're willing to compromise. I think that's important.
Well,
because I'd love to deny every rooftop, but we can't because we've already, Rooftops are here to stay, unfortunately.
That's the outside, right, Max? Where is the outside?
Yeah, Onej has now gotten to the ground floor plan. We showed you the entire. So there it is, Mark, right there at the bottom. That bottom is DeBrosses Street, and then it curves around to Washington.
How many tables and chairs?
Well, he originally said 45, Mark.
So what we could do, if it earns your support, Mark, we could take the tables off of those 4 tops over there on the corner that wrap around to Washington Street. We could take those off so that that reduces 12 right there.
What, these all the ones are on Desbrosses?
Yeah, that's right.
Or DeBrosses, right?
You know, I'm embarrassed. I don't know how to say it. You know, so we can do only DeBrosses. That gets you. You know, Adam had said 24. If you want, you know, we could change it so that, you know, some of those 4 tops are 2 tops, and to make it 24 on DeBrosses.
You know,
Well, I think 24 in general.
The residents spoke about, you know, again, it's a quiet residential neighborhood. So, I mean, this is you have guidelines to go. Either you say there's a reason why the guidelines are there to give us guidance. So the guidance can be there should be maybe more tables, or the guidance should be, depending on the situation, there should be less tables, or there should be no tables. That's what the guidelines mean. So again, I can't reiterate it. It's a quiet residential neighborhood. The residents stated it eloquently. I was not happy to hear about with the working group and what Matt was mentioned about what he had done. So I have really deep concerns about voting on approval on anything here at this moment. I would suggest and also the fact that I didn't know this, that the hotel's only at 30%. If that's accurate, we really don't have a full picture of what an 80 or 90% occupancy of the hotel would be as far as quality of life issues. So we really don't have a barometer of what really is going to happen. So I think we should have it to be continued and not approve anything tonight and
It's at
have them come back.
75% occupancy now.
You do have 75%.
Now we do. And
Now the summer's starting. So if it's at 75% with the summer starting, let's see what it's like with the summer without this. And that can give us an idea of maybe what we can approve later, if so.
So, Mariam, I haven't heard from you, but this is okay. Talk.
I'm kind of. I mean, you know, I'm on the east side, so I've heard what the residents said. I'm not a fan of the rooftops in general that are across, you know, from residences. I know how the sound bounces. I had a building go up directly across the street from me. I know how that is, you know, so I'm not a fan, but I tend to, you know, try to be as neutral as possible in all of these things. But I did listen to the residents and that see that they don't really want it. And I was waiting for Mark. I mean, if they pulled Mark, they would have had me, but they didn't seem to have pulled Mark. So I'm still here teetering.
All right, so that Mark and everybody, this is my suggestion, and I'm willing to be shut down, agreed with, whatever. I would like at least to give them the rooftop at hours of 8 and 9. And with a maximum of 65 people, not 74, 65. That would be for the rooftop. And I would like not to give them the sidewalk cafe for the summer. And let's see how the rooftop goes. And they could live another summer without it, is my thought. And it gives a little more peace to the neighborhood. But that would be my suggestion. So you know how I feel, Mark. I always get nervous, you know, and Max is slick, and I've learned to be fond of him over the years.
Slick, is that a
you know what it is.
He's
very clever and smart, and I want to be able to protect everybody. I mean, that's my
This is
concern.
a change of a method of operation or or so-called. So I mean, they already have the license, so it's not like we're saying you can't have the license. What we're saying is these quality of life issues that we have a lot of concern about, and the residents do. They shouldn't change anything.
Well, that would be no roof, no liquor on the roof. And it would be, I always,
I could support your proposal, Susan.
I think I'd rather not give him the outdoor for the summer, Mark, and let him have
Agree.
8 and 9. I'll call on you in a second, Karen. And let's see how they behave, for God's sakes. And if they don't, and I would say that I would put in the resolution that this is through the summer. To give us a sense and them a sense at almost full occupancy, how it works. And if it doesn't work, then we will review it again. I would put that in. Karen, go on.
I'm a little bit nervous about starting off this process by giving them all the seats they want for the roof, which is the full 65.
Well, he says 115 or 74. So I would, what would you want to give?
I would boil it down to say 40 and see how that goes. Hopefully that won't make enough of a ruckus to keep people up. But if it does, then we know that we can't expand it beyond that.
Well, how about we give them 45 on the roof. Let's quibble a little. And the hours, and no sidewalk at the moment.
Even the residents were going to give us the sidewalk at early hours. I mean, can we close it early, really early?
Which residents? I didn't hear anybody say that.
Residents are still in the chat. It seems like they don't want you to have, they prefer you not have the roof, is what this looks like.
They also, the roof, that they agreed to 40. Read the chat.
We'll take very early closing hours on the sidewalk. I mean, we want to.
It says in the working group, they had discussed 40 people on the roof and that they agreed to that. That's what it's saying in the chat. I'm just reading from the chat. I don't know if this is.
No, you're right,
I'm
Mary.
very happy with that. I don't mind that.
There was a lot of stuff that was talked about to hopefully earn support. We didn't ultimately earn support.
I know. I got it. So if we give you 40 on the roof, closing at 8 and 9, watch your music, at least through the summer, to be reviewed again, which we would be willing to do. And if you, to go to Adam's proposal on the sidewalk cafe of 24, which still, I need support here, and keep the hours at 9 o'clock totally.
Yeah.
Although I like the 8 o'clock during the weekdays, but I would give you through the summer.
Susan, if I could just, the letters that were sent that came with Onej's,
Talk to me.
applications, all of the letters from the residents had requested 8 and 9, like 8 during the week and 9 on the weekends, just for point of reference.
On the cafe.
Let me open it. Let me open it up again.
On the bar, it's 8 and 9. That's what and we would maximum 40. I agree with, I like that. And I think
on those letters, they were saying that in the working group that they kind of came to a consensus of 8 hours of operation limited to 8 p.m. on weekdays, 9 p.m. on weekends, for the open air, whatever,
We could do that, 8 and 9 and 24 seats on the sidewalk cafe.
Oh, I wasn't talking. I was just talking in general when you were talking about the hours. I just saw 8 and 9 on many of the letters that were sent in that were Onej included in the applications.
Yeah, no, 8 and 9
how
was.
about we give you 40? How about no music on the roof, Max? That's a problem.
I mean, could we have the sidewalk cafe? We'll do no music on the roof, 8 and 9 on the roof, 40 people max on the roof. Sidewalk cafe, no music, 24 people, 24 chairs at 8 and 9 on sidewalk cafe.
And explain to the residents that we can't be arbitrary and capricious. If there are rooftop cafes in other parts of Tribeca, we can't just say no to a rooftop cafe. Can't grant yes to some and no to
Got to
others.
make a distinction here.
I think
This
if
is
he
North
says no
Tribeca.
music, that's a big.
North Tribeca is different than other parts of Tribeca. It's an historic district that has a different character and charm than when you get below Hubert Street. Okay, so
Okay.
that is important, and that should be noted in the resolution, as well as the residents' displeasure that they mentioned with the working group and what went on there. But it should be mentioned as North Tribeca, its unique character as opposed to the rest of Tribeca, and the displeasure that the residents had with the working group. Those are unique factors that don't apply to other rooftops in other parts of Tribeca.
All right, so I'm
let Max
gonna-
repeat
wait,
what he just
stop.
proposed?
Wait, be quiet, 1 sec. Let me just see if I can get this, because I'd like to get it through. We could do the sidewalk cafe. I am, I'm loath, guys, to, the rooftop is bothering me. I have to say, and I feel like everybody's being bombarded. And I'm just struggling with it, and I'm struggling for them, all of them. I don't know.
Susan, in the
Can you let
letters,
Max repeat what he just proposed, Susan? I didn't
Sure.
really catch it.
What I was
Max, go.
what I was suggesting is the following, which seems to be like what a lot of the working group had been saying all along, which is rooftop, 8 and 9, 40 people max, no music. Sidewalk cafe, 24 seats, 8 and 9, no music.
That's pretty fair.
I think that's a good deal.
yeah, Susan, I'm just reading some of the letters, and the 8 and 9 for the sidewalk cafe, it looks like they were willing to do that, but applicant, okay, on one of the letters, applicant forego application for a rooftop venue, which is discouraged by the guidelines in the first case, but in any event precluded until the applicant has been in business for at least a year. So I'm just, like I said, just reading in the letters.
Yes, they seem to think that the working group seems to believe that none of these things would happen for another 6 months.
Well, I'm willing, Max. I mean, I know that to say, let's see how the sidewalk cafe works, and let's wait the year for the rooftop.
Oh, come on.
I'm loath. I like to compromise, but I think I'm willing to wait. When is your year up, Max?
October.
Well, you can wait till October for the.
I mean,
roof.
we said we'd come back after 6
I know,
months for the roof.
but I'm, we would be remiss not to listen to the working group.
No
and to
311
the
calls.
people. I just think let's just give it a shot, Max, and let's do the sidewalk cafe. Let's see that you are all people of your word, and then you'll come back in October. And we're saying you can come back in October.
One thing, could we flip it? I mean, I just had to ask them, what do they want more, the sidewalk cafe or the roof? I mean, we obviously wanted both. You're not giving us, I mean, some people thought what I proposed was fair for both, but if you're not going to give us both, can we do the roof and come back on the sidewalk cafe?
No, because the sidewalk cafe is going to be closed in October. That's a giveaway, Max. I'm not that silly.
No, I'm not. No, the roof is not enclosed. The roof is, we're not doing any enclosures on the roof. But we need, the STIP said we'd come back 6 months for the roof. It did say a year for the sidewalk cafe. We were, I mean, I'm telling you, we need something for the roof. If you take away the sidewalk cafe, we need to do something for the roof. Flip it. I mean, don't give us the sidewalk cafe.
No music and 40 people?
Yeah, come on.
Yes, Max, 40
Yeah.
people and no music.
That's right.
I don't know what to say. I'm torn because I know the residents don't want a roof. I know Mark is saying no roof, but Mark, what do you say?
I don't know where he is.
I mean, I'm reading in the chat now what the residents are saying, so
Yeah.
and about what happened at the working group. So I mean, I gotta go with that. So
Yeah, it's pretty clear the residents care more about not having the roof than they
I'm
do about.
willing, Max, we're gonna review it in October. We'll give you the sidewalk cafe as what we agreed to, and you'll live without the roof. You can
I don't know
have,
if I can get my client to agree to it. I'm just telling you, the roof, we need something on the roof.
we'll go to the, listen, I'll go to the SLA. You know that.
I
Because
know, well, we might have to. I mean, I know, I don't want, I'm not,
we
you know
have
how
a
it is.
very good working relationship with them. So don't push us either.
I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm just telling you. I mean, it was 6 months. We came back. There's no 311 calls, no complaints, no slew of people saying that we've been bad operators.
That's not true, Max. People have said they complained.
No. They complained about construction, and they told you that last time as well. I mean, there was no new complaints here. It's the same.
There's some members of the working group that are in the chat, no?
No, I'm saying, but the complaints were
So they're
about
complaining. Oh.
construction. I wish you'd all consider the extremely reasonable and limited proposal for the roof, and give us that, and not the sidewalk cafe.
You'll get that in October.
Well, I don't know. I mean, we thought we'd come back after 6 months and talk about it now.
But the working group hasn't worked that well. So we're going to give you another 6 months around the roof, and we're going to give you the sidewalk cafe. That's your choice. That's what we're going to vote on, and you can go against us, and I wouldn't suggest it. So could I have you see what we're proposing? Could I have a call the question?
we'll mention
Call the
North
question.
Tribeca, not Tribeca, character and charm, and
all of
the
that,
working
Marcy.
group
All
thing.
of it.
All right.
All right. So, do I have a call the question?
Call the
Call the
question.
question.
In a second, please.
Second.
Okay. So, you know what we have suggested? That's what we're going to go with. All in favor? No. Any recusals? Any rejections?
Abstention.
Amoruso is a no.
Okay. Any
I need to have a clear
abstentions?
conscience.
Okay, fine.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, and Miriam abstains. Everybody else? Okay. I don't love it either, but I think that this is an easier way. Okay, that's it.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
You too, Max.
Mark wants to say one word before we end on 388, which is coming next month.
So 388 Greenwich Street is the big Citibank building on Greenwich Street. It kind of ties into what the first item was with regards to a traffic plan, except the fact that this already has a mess of traffic in and of itself because of drop-offs and buses double, triple parked. We were dealing with this in the Quality of Life Committee and before the COVID hit, and the representatives from Citibank were trying to work things out to even maybe move their drop-off and pick up to Hubert Street where there is no traffic whatsoever. So now they want to add this like 300 or 400 catering venue to which is already a traffic nightmare. So this is Greenwich Street between Northmore and Hubert. Beach Street runs directly into it as a T Street, and that's an exit from the Holland Tunnel. So keep that in mind. And Pat, can you please add this to the Quality of Life Committee? At least I can give a 2-minute brief on it this month, and then we got to try. I sent an email about it. And then we got to try and get those Citibank folks back to start talking about this again because it's a big problem again now.
All right.
And it's been documented. There's video and pictures of it from the past when we were dealing with it back then. Pat, you still there? If you can put that on the agenda, it would be helpful.
And Mariana, we'll
This
talk
is
about
this is how quick I'll be on at your committee this month.
I want to thank everybody. I really appreciate it and everybody's thoughtfulness. Really, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.